What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5SG. Chapter 72 Capturing the Two-Tailed Jinchuriki by Wooden Golem. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 164. 41. 55. Wang Shu's flash. Grimjow shouted, and the blue energy in his hand burst out instantly. Boom. The blue energy formed a bowl shape and slammed into the tailed beast bomb. The tailed beast bomb and Wang Shu's flashes collided with each other. The two terrifying energy bodies squeezed each other and continued to deform. The huge impact even spread to distant battles. Third Raikage breaks out in lightning-style chakra mode, steadying his body to avoid being overturned by this terrifying impact. His eyes bulged, his expression was full of disbelief, and he yelled, "How is that possible? How could anyone possibly face the tailed beast bomb with 2 tails of steel?" Even if he was physically stronger than him, he could only dodge the tailed beast bomb. It is absolutely impossible for that leopard-like man to use ninjutsu to face off against the tailed beast bomb. The most important thing is that after the tailed beast bomb collided with the blue energy body, it looked like it was deadlocked. Could this guy be a tailed beast in human form? Third Raikage was surprised. If not, he couldn't imagine how someone could face the tailed beast bomb by himself. Has this guy reached the level of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara? No. Third Raikage shook his head crazily. Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were both beings who could easily defeat tailed beasts. The man in front of them is not enough to compare with them. But just based on the strength of this pair of steel-tailed beast bombs, he is definitely a top-notch strongman. So how powerful is this muscular man of the same class as him in front of him? Third Raikage's expression became more solemn. At this moment, tailed beast bomb and Wang Shu's flash finally broke out in the stalemate. Boom! A white light streaked across the sky, cutting through the darkness. The light of the explosion was like the sun, illuminating the Kingdom of Thunder at night like day. The impact of the explosion formed waves in the air, spreading out layer by layer from the center of the explosion. Nearby buildings were shattered layer by layer under the impact of the waves. The town was destroyed instantly. Erwei's eyes pierced by the white light narrowed slightly, and a trace of doubt appeared on his human face. Is it a tailed beast, or is the man who calls himself Leopard a tailed beast? Could it be that it has been sealed in the Kingdom of Thunder for too long and cannot keep up with the development of the Jonin world? Ninja's creature 23 is already strong enough to confront a gang-tailed beast. Fortunately, he hasn't reached the outrageous level of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. Otherwise, the tailed beast really wouldn't have to live in the ninja world. He was obviously labeled as Disaster, the most powerful pronoun, but he was casually beaten by 2 men a few years ago. Now I meet a man who can unleash a light cannon as powerful as the tailed beast bomb. Can the ninja world and their tailed beasts survive? The Cloud Shinobi troops who saw this scene from a distance were also dumbfounded. Doesn't it mean that no one can survive under that energy ball? How come a blue light cannon suddenly rushed towards it and was immediately cancelled out? Who is it? He was actually able to fight against the tailed beast. Is this the kind of powerful enemy the Third Raikage and the others are facing? Team leader Cloud Shinobi said with a heavy face, "Speed up the pace. I originally thought that with Lord Raikage and the second-tailed Jinchuriki here, I would be able to defeat the enemy this time without fail. But after witnessing this horrific scene with his own eyes, he couldn't help but feel worried. We must hurry up. Support Raikage-sama." After the daytime state lasted for a while, it gradually began to dissipate. The situation on the ground is also looming. A huge, bowl-shaped pit suddenly came into view. Only the ground under Erwei and Grimjow's feet was intact. Third Raikage's face twitched and he took a deep breath. The entire town was destroyed by this terrifying energy explosion. The country of Thunder suffered heavy losses. Third Raikage took a deep breath and tried to calm down. The most important thing right now is to deal with the invading enemies first. As for the loss, let the daimyo deal with it. Just when the white light disappeared, several blue light traces cut through the white light, fell from the sky, and stabbed straight towards the second tail. The second tail's eyes widened, and he subconsciously wanted to leave the place, but the blue light trace came in an instant, giving it no time to notice. Kai. Several blue light marks like claw marks penetrated Erwei's huge body. At this moment, the white light completely dissipated. As he spoke, the blue light mark looked over, and he saw Grimjow grinning, revealing his big white teeth, and huge blue light marks extending from his leopard-like claws. Claws of the Leopard King. Grimjow's strongest move after returning to the sword. He controlled his claws and pulled back. Crunch. Erwei's body was instantly cut into several sections by its terrifying cuts. Even the face with twinkling eyes was split into 2. The cut blue flame-shaped chakra lost its main body and fell into the pit little by little. The only well-preserved ground was also torn apart by Grimjow's blue light traces, collapsed suddenly, and fell together with the blue flaming chakra of the second tail. But even in the face of such a miserable injury, Erwei's face that was split into 2 did not show any change in expression. Because it is a chakra aggregation itself, even if it is an injury like this, as long as the chakra is recondensed, it will recover immediately. It manipulated the surrounding chakra to regroup towards it, but suddenly its expression changed. Then he sighed helplessly. My wooden golem's body can no longer bear its power. If you continue to fight forcefully, the wooden golem will only be crushed by its power. It is also death in the end. Erwei sighed helplessly and took the initiative to disband chakra, revealing Ku Wooden Golem who was already in a comatose state. Third Raikage's heart sank when he saw Erwei disappear. He understood that the second tail was not dead, but Grimmjow was able to force the second tail to this point. This is a tailed beast. Even the second tailed beast, which ranks at the bottom among the tailed beasts, is not something that ordinary people can defeat. Could this hollow be a group more powerful than the tailed beasts? His eyes widened and he suddenly remembered the numbers on them. Number 7, number 6. Could it be that, like the tailed beasts, these numbers also represent their strength? Moreover, in addition to these virtual beings, there are also existences above 6. Third Raikage's face darkened. If his guess was true, then the country might really be in trouble. Grimmjow said, huh, in confusion. He clearly felt that this big cat could continue to fight, so why did it suddenly disappear? He's not quite happy yet. In a flash, Grimmjow came to Wooden Golem, grabbed her by the collar, picked her up, and shouted, hey. You guy, don't run away from me. He was answered by the sound of Wooden Golem's sleeping breathing. Grimmjow clicked his tongue in displeasure, his eyes turning sinister. Subconsciously, I wanted to kill her. But at this moment, a crack suddenly appeared in the space beside him, and Uzumaki Chihiro's voice came from inside. Xiaojie, bring her back. Xiaoj. Grimmjow was stunned for a moment when he heard this title, and then felt ashamed. If anyone else calls him that, he will risk his life to kill that person. But the person who called him that was his king. Grimmjow could only say helplessly, yes, your majesty. Uzumaki Chihiro, who was observing the situation in the Land of Thunder with a monitor, chuckled. When he saw the second tail, he suddenly remembered what would happen if the second tail Jinchuriki was transformed into a Shinigami or a hollow. In order to survive the death of Wooden Golem, there is another 50% chance of encountering Rukongai unluckily. Uzumaki Chihiro did not let Grimmjow kill her. He brought her back first, took her to the Confession Palace, and handed her over to the Technology Development Bureau for research. As for the dark side that opened up when contacting Grimmjow, it was also because the troops recently recruited were from the Hueco Mundo camp. After receiving feedback from the soldiers, I naturally mastered many of their skills. Black Toon is one of them. The Land of Thunder. After receiving the king's order, Grimmjow did not hesitate. He picked up the Wooden Golem, opened the black chamber, and prepared to go back and recover. Even if you are eager to fight, the king's orders must come first. When Third Raikage saw this scene, his eyes widened. He wants to take away the second-tailed Jinchuriki. Regardless of the entangled Yami, Third Raikage is so bold. The second-tailed Jinchuriki must not be taken away by him. Just as Third Raikage was about to take a step, his shoulder was suddenly grabbed by a huge force. Crack. The thunder and lightning on Third Raikage jumped up with excitement as if it had seen its prey, and thunder snakes crawled along his shoulders towards the owner of the hand. Crack. Thunder snakes climbed up the giant hand one after another and launched a fierce attack on the giant hand. But the owner of the giant hand didn't feel anything at all. Even his steel skin couldn't be broken by mere lightning. Yami opened her mouth wide, stared at Third Raikage, and said angrily, where are you going? He is obviously his opponent, but he wants to go somewhere else. Third Raikage snorted, Lousy can go wherever he wants, it's up to you. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji's whip legs wrapped around Thunder and lightning kicked Yami hard. Boom. A heavy voice sounded on Yami's side, but it did not shake his body at all. Third Raikage's expression changed slightly. From the physical battle just now, he had already discovered that this stupid big guy's body was as hard as a steel plate. No, even harder than steel plate. Even his lightning-style attack failed to leave even a single black mark on the surface of his body. But now he is not important, the second tail Jinchuriki is the most important thing. Once the second tail Jinchuriki is taken away, the Kingdom of Thunder will completely lose the second tail. It is still a little short of surpassing Konoha's military strength. Once the two tails are lost, this goal will continue to be farther away. What's more, without the second tail, the strength of the Kingdom of Thunder has dropped a lot. Jinchuriki can be taken away, but the two tails must not be taken away. But Yami obviously wouldn't give him a chance to leave. Unforgivable. Yami suddenly growled, his voice full of anger. The muscles of the giant hand gripping Third Raikage's shoulder suddenly squirmed and became thicker, the arm turned red, and wisps of steam rose up. Third Raikage stared, feeling the growing force on his shoulders, as if his bones would be crushed in the next second. He suddenly burst into lightning and broke away suddenly. Tear. The shoulder of the Third Raikage was torn apart by a huge force. He looked over his shoulder with a gloomy expression, and a clearly visible handprint came into his eyes. Third Raikage frowned and looked at Yami sharply. The right arm that turned red and steamed made him feel shocked. What kind of creature is this guy? The body can actually be strengthened to such an extent. And it also has that indestructible skin. Unforgivable. Yami roared again, maintaining his angry mood, staring ferociously at Third Raikage, and his body underwent drastic changes again. The dense muscles squirmed crazily, and the whole person seemed to be inflated, suddenly enlarging in a circle. The whole person turned red, and wisps of steam slowly rose. Like a steamed crab. Boom. Yami suddenly turned in front of Third Raikage and punched him hard. Third Raikage's eyes bulged, and he quickly raised his arms to block his chest. Boom. Like a cannonball, Third Raikage was instantly repulsed. Feet carrying thunder and lightning slide on the ground. Third Raikage roared angrily, stamped his feet on the ground, and forcibly stopped his retreating body. Card. The ground beneath my feet couldn't bear the power coming from Third Raikage, and it suddenly cracked. After forcibly stopping his retreating body, Third Raikage looked at Yami in shock. This terrifying power can be seen in his entire life. It was like a tail from 8 tails hit him. Damn it, this can't go on like this. Third Raikage's eyes narrowed, and the lightning on his arm flashed. Gather a large amount of thunder and lightning to 4 fingers. He yelled angrily. Hell thrust 4 pen hands. With a flash of lightning, the Third Raikage arrives in an instant. 4 fingers slashed hard on Yami's body. Boom. A dull sound sounded. Yami's body trembled slightly, as if he had received a big shock. But Third Raikage's eyes suddenly widened, as if he had seen something incredible. I saw his 4 fingers wrapped with lightning pressing against Yami's abdomen, but it only made Yami's abdomen dent. Other than that, Yami could no longer move forward. How can it be? Third Raikage is in disbelief. Hell thrust Sibin 967 hands. This is the most proud lightning style ninja technique in his life. The electric thrust can penetrate any defense. A move called the strongest spear. But it can't even break Yami's skin. Monster. His grandma's is such a monster. When the attack failed, Third Raikage was shocked for a moment, and then quickly distanced himself. I cursed in my heart. The eyes staring at Yami are getting sharper. Since the 4-book Quan Shou doesn't work, then use the 3-book Guan Shou. The 2-book Guan Shou. Even a consistent one. As long as the number of fingers used is reduced, the contact area will become smaller, and the force can be more concentrated, producing amazing penetrating force. This is the power of his strongest spear. He couldn't believe that he, the mighty Third Raikage, couldn't even break his skin. Hell thrust 3 Bon hands. The 3-finger lightning strike struck Yami's body, making the dents in his skin become even deeper. Tear. Yami's clothes were also torn to pieces under the impact of lightning. Third Raikage's eyes lit up. It works. And he also discovered a weakness in Yami. Although his body became stronger, his speed also dropped a lot. This is his chance. Speed is his advantage. T.O.B. Third Raikage narrowed his eyes and saw the number on Yami's shoulder. Number 10. It seems like this guy is the weakest, right? In this case, there is a chance. Third Raikage took a deep breath, narrowed his eyes, and shouted, Hell thrust Nihon Kansho. Crack. Like a bolt of lightning piercing the dark night. The penetration force of 2 fingers hit Yami's body hard. Yami's thick body was like a target under the Third Raikage's attack. Kaka. A crisp sound suddenly came to mind where the heavy blow had occurred. An invisible crack quietly emerged. But Third Raikage, who has been paying attention to Yami's body, soon discovered this change. Not enough. Without hesitation, Third Raikage directly changed to 1 finger. Hell thrust. Ippon hand. Kai. There was a flash of lightning, and Yami's body suddenly bowed, as if he was struck by lightning. A finger penetrated his chest, flashing with lightning. A burning smell flooded into the tip of my nose. Yami looked down and his eyes suddenly widened. Third Raikage slowly pulled out his fingers and snorted, It's over. He placed his eyes on Yami's exposed arm and mocked. Number 10 is indeed the weakest. Third Raikage turned around and prepared to bring her way back. But at this moment, Yami's angry voice suddenly penetrated behind him. Unforgivable. Third Raikage gave him a flat look. In his opinion, this was nothing more than Yami's incompetent rage. But just this glance made him freeze on the spot. Unforgivable. Yami roared angrily and pulled out the knife that had been unsheathed at his waist. Get angry. Angry Beast. Chapter 73 Uzumaki Chihiro. Wei, do you mind if I put a lock on your house? Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 333. 83. 111. Get angry. Angry Beast. Yami's body suddenly grew in size and grew 10 more legs, turning into an ugly Trolloc. A giant tail grew out from behind, and when it slapped on the ground shook. There are several black cylinders protruding from the back. The number 1 on the shoulder gradually disappeared, leaving only the number 0. Third Raikage's eyes widened. Number 10 becomes number 0. What does this mean? Is this guy the strongest? Thoughts flashed in Third Raikage's eyes, but Yami punched him straight. Although the speed of this punch is slow, its range is extremely wide. Third Raikage raised his head, and the top of his head was covered by this punch. Whoosh. The terrifying force rubbed the air, and fire snakes jumped on the huge arms. The air seems to be filled with the smell of burning. Third Raikage uses the body flicker technique to leave the spot. Boom. The ground suddenly trembled, raising large amounts of dust. After the dust dispersed, Third Raikage looked intently. A huge fist mark came into his eyes, making him tremble. How to fight a monster of this size? He clenched his fists, feeling the same as when facing the tailed beast again. I never expected that kind of terrifying pressure could be felt by beings other than tailed beasts. Is it empty? The Third Raikage has deep eyes. The world of ninja has undergone unpredictable changes. Even such a monster comparable to a tailed beast appeared. And there are still a few monsters of this level that have not appeared. What's even more frightening is that these hollows who are comparable to tailed beasts belong to the same force. Once all of them launch an attack on the Kingdom of Thunder, the consequences will be absolutely disastrous. Fortunately, it is not yet irreversible. At least now, the virtual army has not moved in full force. This gives them a chance. As long as we get through this difficult time, we must find a way to reveal the information about Kion's force to the ninja world. Such a force must be made known to the entire ninja world. Let these hollows become the public enemies that everyone in the ninja world shouts about. Or, gather all the power of the ninja world to wipe out all these virtual forces. This so-called virtual force must die. 10-tailed beast level characters gathered in one force. It's like a ninja village gathering all the tailed beasts. No ninja village in the ninja world would want to see such a situation. But no matter how much I say, we have to wait for the Kingdom of Thunder to get through this crisis first. Third Raikage once again dodged several Yami attacks. There are several more huge fist marks on the land of the Kingdom of Thunder. The good news is that after his observation, although Yami's body has explosive power, his speed and reaction are slower than before. This may be a breakthrough. Damn bugs, don't run away. Yami's angry voice echoed throughout the Kingdom of Thunder. Even the villagers as far away as Cloud Shinobi Village heard it clearly. As Yami became angry, his body once again underwent some subtle changes. Third Raikage's eyes narrowed, and suddenly an idea flashed. This guy seems to change his body whenever he gets angry. What is the principle of this? Just when he was confused, Yami suddenly opened his mouth, and the red light of destruction and death came instantly. So fast, so big. Third Raikage's pupils shrank suddenly, and he subconsciously wanted to use the body flicker technique to leave, but suddenly found that the range of this red light was extremely wide, and there was no way to avoid it. Damn it! The third Raikage looked ferocious and roared. Black Thunder's strongest lightning-style armor. Third Raikage's hair stood up, and the blue lightning on his body suddenly dissipated, and wisps of black lightning enveloped his body. Boom! Yami's Sero collided directly with Third Raikage's body, drowning him in an instant. When I saw this scene, his eyes were about to burst, and he roared, "Dad!" The Cloud Shinobi troops who finally dared to come saw this scene and froze in place. Raikage-sama, how is it possible? Master Raikage is the strongest. Raikage-sama can even suppress 8 tails, so he will be fine. Damn it, what kind of monster is this? A new tailed beast. Yami closed her big mouth and the red Sero disappeared. What appeared before everyone's eyes was a huge bottomless pit. But the figure of Third Raikage disappeared. Gudong. Cloud Shinobi swallowed and said tremblingly, "Master Raikage, could it be?" Impossible. Raikage-sama will never die. But as time passed and Raikage was nowhere to be seen, the Cloud Shinobi also began to fall silent. No, how could it be possible? Raikage-sama snapped. Just when the hearts of the Cloud Shinobi sank to the bottom, a dark hand suddenly stretched out from the pit, grabbed the edge of the pit, and jumped up. The Cloud Shinobi's eyes suddenly lit up and they cheered. It's Raikage-sama. I knew there could be nothing wrong with Raikage-sama. Wait a minute, Raikage-sama doesn't seem to be in good condition. As soon as these words came out, everyone shut their mouths and looked at Raikage with concern. Of course, Third Raikage's condition cannot be good. Sero received a blow from the front. If it hadn't been for the use of Black Thunder, I'm afraid there would have been no corpses left. Even if he used Black Thunder to block some of the key damage, his current situation was still uncomfortable. Chakra was consumed too much, and the body smelled like burnt, and there was no good part about it. Cloud Shinobi leader quickly discovered Raikage's condition and hurriedly shouted, "Quick! Protect Raikage-sama!" The Cloud Shinobi responded one after another, rushing straight over and surrounding the movie. Raikage coughed and said, "No, Lousy can still fight." The leader of Cloud Shinobi said, "Lord Raikage, please don't show off. Today's Cloud Shinobi village cannot live without Raikage." Third Raikage subconsciously wanted to refute. But thinking of these virtual things that suddenly appeared. It was so difficult when he was here. If he is gone, what will happen to Cloud Shinobi village and what will happen to the Kingdom of Thunder? Can his good-for-nothing son take over Raikage? Thinking of this, he fell silent and subconsciously looked towards I. Just one glance made his eyelids twitch. I saw IG's lateral bolt of pain, lightning style concentrated on his left hand, and slashed towards Zamari's neck with his heavy hand knife. Zamari calmly raised his hand and glanced at I's knife. A sun-shaped black pattern quietly appeared on the back of his hand. Just when the lateral bolt of pain struck Zamari with power, I's expression suddenly changed, and he slashed back with his left hand uncontrollably. I was startled and hurriedly raised his right hand to block the left hand from slashing towards his neck. Then he quickly distanced himself from Zamari and looked at him in surprise. At this time, Zamari had already died, and there were black lines on his face and jaw. The lower body turns into a peach-colored pumpkin-shaped ball and floats off the ground, with as many as 50 yellow eyes appearing on the body. It gave him a thrilling feeling. Coupled with the fact that the left hand is now uncontrollable, this feeling is even more profound. He could understand that if his left hand was out of control, it must be this guy's fault. The only change he had before and after was the extra eyes on his body. Can those eyes control my body? I stared with disbelief on his face. Why do these guys have such weird abilities? Zamari looked calm and said, "Can't you understand my ability? But it's not your fault. You just need to accept the love I give you, that's enough." I sighed. Do you call this love? The cursed eye on Zamari's body suddenly flashed purple light. The sudden change made Ai's face become serious, and he instantly used lightning to teleport away from the place. But when he reappeared, his face became very ugly. Because there is another sun-shaped black pattern on his left foot. Plus, I cursed. Then with a sudden change of heart, he used lightning style to directly cut off the nerves in his left hand and foot. As long as they can't move, they can't be controlled. I grinned fiercely. Although it hurt, it was at least better than holding him back or even having him killed. But in this way, he also fell into a dilemma. He lost one arm and one foot, and his combat ability plummeted. And I haven't found any weaknesses in this weird guy. If I go up rashly, I'm afraid I'll get tricked again. Fortunately, support from Cloud Shinobi's troops arrived. Seemingly seeing Ai's predicament, Cloud Shinobi said, Master Ai, please go and rest first. Leave this place to us first. I was silent for a moment, then nodded helplessly and reminded, be careful, this guy's eyes can control people's bodies. Cloud Shinobi's face condensed and he nodded. Obviously, he didn't expect these things to have such weird abilities. I stepped aside, and the medical team and SEAL team rushed over to connect his severed nerves and study the removal of the sun-shaped black Madara pattern seal. He quietly observed Zamari, trying to find his weaknesses. All the eyes on Zamari's body lit up, and sun-shaped black Madara patterns instantly appeared on the heads of dozens of Cloud Shinobi. He was controlled by it and killed his companions. But there are too many Cloud Shinobi, and he can't control them all. When the dense ninjutsu attack comes, he can only defend passively, retracting his upper body into the pumpkin-shaped body of his lower body, and raising a skull-shaped ring armor on the periphery. On the other side, Yami was also besieged by the Cloud Shinobi. Although Yami's body looks very oppressive, making the Cloud Shinobi frightened. But they are not afraid of death. Like ants swallowing an elephant, they face difficulties head-on. Yami Reiatsu condensed, and virtual bullets appeared from around him, and then blasted towards the Cloud Shinobi. Boom boom boom. Cloud Shinobi, who was hit by a dummy bullet, died tragically immediately. The pits are filled with broken limbs and broken arms. Although the power of virtual bullets is not as good as Sero, it is faster and more numerous. Perfect for cleaning up small bugs. Third Raikage frowned, this can't go on like this. Although there are many Cloud Shinobi, they are not so expensive. He quickly summoned a ninja and said, go to the place where the tailed beast experiments are conducted and get the amber bottle with 8 tails sealed. Cloud Shinobi hesitated and said, Master Raikage, 8 tails may go berserk without Jinchuriki's control. Raikage glared and said angrily, then tell me how to deal with this monster, just risk human lives. Since people are going to die, I'd rather release 8 tails. Lousy wants to see who is more powerful, this damn thing or 8 tails. Cloud Shinobi's face was dripping with cold sweat, but he didn't dare to disobey Master Raikage, so he could only run towards Cloud Shinobi village. The third Raikage gritted his teeth as he watched each and every Cloud Shinobi die from the explosion of virtual bullets. But he must receive treatment now, otherwise he would just die in the past. Then, he thought of the second-tailed Jinchuriki again, and then looked over, but did not find the second-tailed Jinchuriki and the leopard man, and his face suddenly became gloomy. Wei, he was taken away after all. In this battle, the Kingdom of Thunder suffered heavy losses. But, it's not over yet. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. Uzumaki Chihiro looked at Wooden Golem who was still sleeping, and gently pinched her chin. He looked at it carefully. He has delicate facial features, a small face, and long straight rice-brown hair. The appearance is not much different from the grown-up appearance in the original work. Then he lifted up Wooden Golem's top, exposing her lower abdomen, and chakra gently touched the smooth skin of her lower abdomen. A sealing technique gradually emerged. Uzumaki Chihiro curled his lips in disdain when he saw this technique. Too rough. Quote. Cloud Shinobi Village, even if it obtained the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, it only learned the folk skills. I'm afraid Wei can come out with this kind of sealing technique if he thinks of it. What difference does it make if the door of this house is not locked? But what surprised him was that Wei was willing to stay in the body of a little girl. And when Grimjow brought him here again, he didn't resist at all. It's really strange. Uzumaki Chihiro recalled the state in the original work where Wooden Golem was able to completely transform into a tailed beast but was not affected by the consciousness of the tailed beast. Maybe it has something to do with the attitude of Wei Dinos. However, since you are so willing to stay, let's stay firmly and solidly. After all, the Technology Development Bureau still needed to study the second tail, and he didn't want the second tail to suddenly run out and cause trouble in Seribu. Uzumaki Chihiro lit up the sealing technique on his hand and pressed it on Wooden Golem's belly. A sealing technique moves like ink. 8-sign seal. But it's not enough. With a buzz, Uzumaki Chihiro's 5 fingers ignited chakra flames of 5 chakra attributes, and continued to press on the belly of Wooden Golem. By Wooden Golem's face twisted and he whimpered in pain. Okay. Done. As a member of the Uzumaki clan, although I awakened Cheat, I also gained the power of the Shinigami. But he has not forgotten his family's ability to look after things. And he is becoming more and more proficient. When the seal was over, Uzumaki Chihiro placed his hand on Wooden Golem's lower abdomen and closed his eyes. The next moment, I came to the mental image space created by Wooden Golem. It was exactly the same place as in the memory of where Nine Tails was with Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Chihiro nodded with satisfaction. The sudden intrusion of a stranger made Wei open a pair of strange eyes. After looking at the door that was closed and even locked, Wei stared at the whirlpool and was slightly silent. There really is no harm to gone if there is no comparison. I'm used to seeing those half-hearted people in Cloud Shinobi Village, but this time I met the expert Wei and I realized that the sealing technique is so awesome. The guys at Cloud Shinobi Village just put up a door for it, but they don't know how to close it. Now it's better. The door is not only closed, but also locked. But it doesn't matter anymore, it's tired of being tossed around by humans. I had always planned to stay in Wooden Golem's body. Who would have thought that just after choosing a Jinchuriki that he was satisfied with, so many things would happen. The second tail stared at Uzumaki Chihiro and said, "Are you the master of those who call themselves hollow?" Chapter 74 Black Zetsu. My head feels so itchy, I need to grow a brain. Urwei squinted his eyes and looked at Uzumaki Chihiro through the cell door. Red hair, strong sealing skills. These two standard features allow him to identify the person in front of him as an Uzumaki clan member at a glance. Before at Cloud Shinobi Village, it had passively heard a lot about the country of Whirlpool. Mainly because the experiments on sealing it in 8 tails have not progressed. The group of people in the laboratory set their sights on the Uzumaki clan, which had great research on tailed beasts. Urwei was also forced to know some of Cloud Shinobi Village's plans against the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Logically speaking, since Cloud Shinobi Village has obtained the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, it proves that they have succeeded. But what is going on with the Uzumaki clan in front of us? But in this way, those virtual invasions of the Kingdom of Thunder seem to be reasonable. Revenge. Uzumaki Chihiro smiled and said nothing. He was not here to chat with Urwei. Since he wants people from the Technology Development Bureau to study whether creatures like tailed beasts can be converted into Shinigami or hollows. Naturally, experimental samples are also needed. As a reward for helping you strengthen your new home, do you mind if I give you some chakra? Thank you so much, Uzumaki Chihiro continued. If you don't speak, then I will assume that you agree. As soon as he finished speaking, Uzumaki Chihiro walked directly through the gap into the cage where Urwei was kept. Urwei narrowed his eyes, a pair of strange pupils showing a cold light. Does this guy think it's easy to talk to? Or are you looking down on it? Urwei decided to teach him a lesson. The cat's paw burning with blue flame swatted at Uzumaki Chihiro. Uzumaki Chihiro remained unmoved, but stretched out several chains from behind and wrapped them around Urwei's cat paws. Then pull hard. Boom. Urwei was pulled by the huge force and his head hit the ground with a bang. The water on the ground rippled instantly. Urwei's pupils shrank, as if he didn't expect this human being to suppress it so easily. And this chain has the power of a seal. Uzumaki Chihiro didn't care about Urwei's feelings, it seemed that he just did an insignificant thing. He stood next to Urwei, seeming to be thinking about how to extract some of Urwei's chakra. Seeing this, Urwei said, "If you can guarantee the safety of the wooden golem, I can give you chakra." Oh, Uzumaki Chihiro was surprised. This guy actually cares about the life and death of Jinchuriki. However, he had no intention of killing wooden golem, it was just a favor. Uzumaki Chihiro said cheerfully. Okay, but as long as there is a need, you must provide chakra unconditionally, and of course it won't make you feel too uncomfortable. Urwei's eyes flashed and he nodded. He knew clearly that he was not qualified to discuss other conditions. At least, keep the wooden golem safe first. After obtaining the two-tailed chakra, Uzumaki Chihiro arranged for it to be sent to the Technology Development Bureau for them to study. Then the people from Division 9 were called, and wooden golem was temporarily escorted into the Palace of Confession. As for whether he can be free, it still depends on the performance of wooden golem. With the experience of Yakushi no, Uzumaki Chihiro estimates that it will not be difficult for wooden golem. Moreover, wooden golem is not very big, and with his status as a Jinchuriki, he may not be welcomed in the village. It is impossible to have too many emotions towards the village. By wooden golem was carried on his shoulders and escorted to dismissal. The second tail perceives this place through chakra. The more he sensed it, the more Urwei's heart was shaken. These people, unlike those virtual ones, are normal human beings. But it has the same power as those virtual ones. That is a different kind of power than chakra and natural energy. Sure enough, the Uzumaki clan is the mastermind behind Kion. The Kingdom of Thunder may have offended someone it shouldn't have this time. I provoked the Uzumaki clan for my own selfish desires, but I didn't expect that I would provoke such an enemy. Urwei felt a little gloating in his heart. Since being handed over to Cloud Shinobi Village by Senju Hashirama, Futao has been tortured in Cloud Shinobi Village. Therefore, Urwei was more gloating about what happened to the Kingdom of Thunder. The country of Vortex, Rukongai. A black and white pitcher plant quietly emerged from the ground. Ah, is this the country of whirlpools? Is this the wrong place to come? The white half of the body looks like a chatterbox, chattering non-stop. Black Zetsu whispered. Shut up, do you want us to be discovered? Reminding White Zetsu, Black Zetsu carefully observed the situation in the country of Whirlpool. I also have a lot of doubts in my heart. He had been to the Kingdom of Whirlpool before, but it was completely different from the current Kingdom of Whirlpool. In other words, in his opinion, these are two countries at all. If he hadn't been sure that he was on the right track, he would have expressed the same doubts as Bai Ran. Is it really the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Black Zetsu controlled his body and relied on the mayfly technique to avoid the patrol's sight and sneak into Rukongai quietly. After just entering the street, Black Zetsu has no special feeling. I just feel a little deserted here. And the people living here seem a bit strange. It's hazy, and the movements are more like being arranged according to the settings, giving people a mechanical feeling. Black Zetsu has seen this situation in many White Zetsu. This group of people, is he really a human? CDDB, Black Zetsu had doubts in his heart. This country of Whirlpool gave him an increasingly strange feeling. And when I came here before, there was only the Uzumaki clan in the country of Whirlpool. But now there are many others. Also, the Kingdom of Whirlpool has been destroyed once, and it is impossible to retain only the Whirlpool clan. It was just that the Kingdom of Whirlpool's re-emergence was too fast, which gave him the feeling that the Kingdom of Whirlpool had never been defeated. Skipping the outskirts of Rukongai, Black Zetsu headed deeper. The further you go, the more complete and beautiful the buildings of Rukongai become. And unlike those in the periphery, the people here truly have the flavor of life. Everyone has various expressions on their faces. There seems to be a sense of class inside and outside Rukongai, as if there are two worlds. Weird. So weird. This country of Vortex gave him a very strange feeling. It's not just the strangeness with the previous country of Whirlpool, but the strangeness with the ninja world. Black Zetsu buried these doubts in his heart and moved on. When he arrived at the gate of Jinglingting, Black Zetsu's eyes flashed with shock. After living for so long, this was the first time he saw a country with such a building. He first walked around casually, trying to see if he could find Uzumaki Nagato. Although the weirdness of Uzumaki country made him want to explore it, the top priority now was Uzumaki Nagato. After all, Rinnegan is related to his future plans. After waiting for 1,000 years, there can't be any surprises this time. After a while, Black Zetsu arrived at the Spiritual Arts Academy. This is the ninja school of the country of Whirlpool. But it seems that people in the Kingdom of Whirlpool are not called ninjas, but a profession called Shinigami. He sneaked in quietly, listened to the class for a while, and soon fell into a trance. Swordsmanship, white hits and shunko are not very understandable. But Kido was confused and couldn't understand it at all. More importantly, people here don't use chakra, but a kind of energy called spiritual power. How can it be? Apart from the chakra brought by the sacred tree, this world only has natural energy areas. How could there be a third energy system? This is not in line with his common sense. And what is Zanpakuto? Hiss. My head feels so itchy, I feel like I'm going to grow a brain. Fortunately, he didn't gain anything, at least he found Uzumaki Nagato at Spiritual Arts Academy. Doubts arose in Black Zetsu's heart. Uzumaki Nagato isn't this good. Well, Rinnegan is here too, no problem. Why can't Uchiha Madara sense Rinnegan? However, knowing that Rinnegan was fine, he felt relieved. After confirming the safety of Uzumaki Nagato, Black Zetsu prepared to visit other places. For example, go meet the current owner of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. He is still very confident in his mayfly technique. After sneaking into the ground, this technique can isolate the breath, so that any sensory technique cannot detect his existence. Black Zetsu seemed to have seen something incredible, and was stunned. Then he asked White Zetsu in confusion. As you said before, all the 7 ninja swordsmen are dead, right? Although he hasn't come out for a while, he has been lurking in Uchiha Madara, waiting for the right opportunity. But it's not like I didn't understand anything. At least when White Zetsu reported to Uchiha Madara about the situation in the ninja world, he would listen carefully and remember the information to avoid derailing the ninja world. And he also clearly remembered that White Zetsu once said that the 7 ninja swordsmen had been completely wiped out. White Zetsu covered his mouth and hummed for a while. Black Zetsu. He dived back into the earth and said, "You can speak now." White Zetsu breathed a sigh of relief, but he was suffocating to the point of not being able to speak. Then he nodded and said, "Yes, the 7 ninja swordsmen are all dead." Black Zetsu reappeared, pointing at Black Holeya and said, "Then what happened to him?" White Zetsu looked confused and said, "I don't know either." Black Zetsu's eyes narrowed and he realized that things were not simple. Immediately afterwards, he met the other 7 ninja swordsmen and even the top officials of the Kingdom of Water. Obviously these people have died in the war with the Whirlpool Kingdom. And this is also recognized information in the ninja world, but why are these people still alive? And it's still in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Aren't they supposed to be enemies? What does it look like to be working for the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Woohoo, here we are. Suddenly, a mature female voice came from above. Matsumoto Rangaku, who has a hot figure and long wavy orange hair, looked down at them. Oh what a hot big sister. White Zetsu was still funny, but Black Zetsu was shocked. How on earth did you discover him? His mayfly technique should be able to isolate the breath. Matsumoto Rangaku looked cold, let people sneak into the Seireiyan at will. It's really my 10th Division's dereliction of duty. Next, just let me surrender and capture you. Black Zetsu didn't hesitate and dived directly underground. He's not a combatant, he's just trying to get out of the way. Matsumoto Rangaku's hand when he drew the sword froze. He didn't seem to expect that the enemy would run away so decisively. This is in line with common sense. The heart of the south, the pupil of the north, the fingertips of the west, and the toes of the east gather together with the wind and disperse by driving the rain. 58 of Bakudo. Slap your toes to chase the sparrow. Buzz. Matsumoto Rangaku quickly sensed the traces of the black and white thing. Then gave up. This guy moves so fast. It only took a moment to reach the outside of Rukongai. When it comes to perception, it is no longer within her range of perception. Good guy, all the skill points are focused on escaping, right? Matsumoto Rangaku had no choice but to report the situation to Lord Soul King first. A black and white humanoid creature with pitcher plants. With such a distinct image, Uzumaki Chihiro knew at a glance who the person who had sneaked into Seireiyan was. Absolutely. But is it too early for Ju to appear? He remembers that Uchiha Madara appeared after Uchiha Obito was fooled, right? Why did it appear so quickly now? But Uzumaki Chihiro didn't pay much attention. Zetsu appears in the Seireiyan, which means that Uchiha Madara has set his sights on the country of Whirlpool. And the reason? He can also guess with high probability, Uzumaki Nagato. To be precise, it should be Rinnegan. If Rinnegan is placed in the hands of other countries, they will eventually feel a little worried. He didn't pay much attention to Uchiha Madara either. Today, Uchiha Madara is no longer young. Madara is just an old man, so he doesn't care too much. On the contrary, Uzumaki Chihiro was looking forward to it. He was looking forward to whether Uchiha Madara would come to Rukkongai after he died. The other side, Black Zetsu left the country of Whirlpool with lingering fear. Ah, are you going back now? White Zetsu was a little regretful that after finally traveling far away, he still wanted to play around. And it's just so exciting. Black Zetsu said solemnly. No, we are going to do an experiment. Experiment? What experiment? White Zetsu's eyes lit up and he became excited. Kill a few ninjas, and then go to the country of Whirlpool. There are only two possibilities for what we saw in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. One is that the person is not dead but still alive. But it's a bit unreasonable. The Kingdom of Water and the Kingdom of Whirlpool have obviously become enemies. As a person from the Kingdom of Water, how could he serve the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Another possibility is that they died but lived again. This possibility is even more outrageous. But as long as you kill a few people and go to the country of Whirlpool, you will understand. Moreover, he had an intuition in his heart. Although the second option was outrageous, the impossible was often the most possible. And the name Shinigami reminded him of a person. Otsutsuki Hamura. I hope it's not you. Black Zetsu's eyes are deep. He has been planning it for thousands of years, and there is absolutely no way that anyone can ruin his plan. Mom, I will rescue you soon. At the same time, a piece of news came from Konoha, shocking the entire ninja world. The third Hokage voluntarily resigned from the Fire Nation daimyo. I have to say, Sarutobi Hiruzen is very smart in what he does. He understands that someone must be responsible for the results of Konoha now. And the most suitable one is him, the Hokage. Even if he doesn't say it, people will be dissatisfied with his previous actions. After all, it was his decision not to hand over Uzumaki Kushina. Later, he handed over the sealed book with his own hands. Even if he doesn't want to bear this responsibility, he can't. Moreover, the daimyo would also remove him from his post in order to quell the anger of the people of the Land of Fire. In addition, Shimura Danzo is causing trouble. Instead of waiting to be dismissed by the daimyo, it is better to leave with dignity. In this way, he still has the qualifications to propose Hokage candidates to the daimyo. As long as Hokage is his disciple, he can continue to exercise the right to destroy on the grounds that his disciple is inexperienced and offers help. His first choice was Orochimaru. But Orochimaru declared that he already had new pursuits and was not interested in the position of Hokage. Then you can only settle for the next best thing and choose Jiraiya. But Jiraiya was also unable to leave due to the tight war situation on the front line, and it was also delaying his acquisition of materials, so he refused to do it. Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to make another choice. Originally, Tsunade was also very suitable, but Tsunade is now in the country of Whirlpool, and his life and death are unknown. In such a big country, Konoha can't find a suitable Hokage candidate. Helpless, the Fire Country daimyo could only let Sarutobi Hiruzen temporarily take over the position of Hokage until a suitable candidate is found to succeed the fourth Hokage. Shimura Danzo saw the right people rejecting them one by one, and looked at him eagerly, thinking that this time it was finally his turn. As a result, the daimyo announced that because there was no suitable candidate for Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen was asked to temporarily take over as Hokage. FTE, isn't he the right person? Is the daimyo blind? With a bang, Shimura Danzo kicked open the newly built Hokage office and said angrily, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Give me a suitable reason. Chapter 75 Namikaze Minato. Kushina, I will definitely save you. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 342. 86. 114. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Give me a reasonable explanation. Shimura Danzo's face was gloomy and angry, and his eyes when he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen were bloodshot. He didn't know how long he had been waiting for this moment. He didn't know how much he had paid. I finally see hope. Why? Orochimaru and Jiraiya give up. Is there a more suitable Hokage person in Konoha than him? As a result, an agent Hokage was created. And it's Sarutobi Hiruzen's position. What is the difference between dismissal and no dismissal? The old god Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette and exhaled a cloud of smoke. He said calmly, I don't want to either, but you know, Konoha doesn't have a suitable candidate, so I can only reluctantly devote my last remaining moment to Konoha. Shimura Danzo stared at his face and felt sick in his heart when he heard what he said. He asked, what do you mean there is no suitable candidate? Am I, Shimura Danzo, the leader of the darkness of Konoha, the root of Konoha, who has made so many contributions to Konoha, not qualified? Sarutobi Hiruzen sneered and said, Danzo, ask yourself, have you really made any contribution to Konoha? When something happened to Konoha, when did your roots appear? Shimura Danzo said harshly, I did it for Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed out loud. Without any nonsense, he told me directly. Okay, you are the dark of Konoha, so you should also understand that you have never appeared in the eyes of the people of Konoha village. How can you become a Hokage without being famous? Shimura Danzo fell silent as if his heart was hit hard. Only now did he understand why Sarutobi Hiruzen was able to agree to his establishment. Because the rats in the gutter are no longer worthy of standing in the sun. Okay, this is how you treat old friends, right? Shimura Danzo had a hint of sullenness in his eyes, then snorted coldly and walked away. One day, he will get back everything that belongs to him. Sarutobi Hiruzen calmly flicked the ashes in his pipe, and he was a little surprised to be able to return to this position. But since he was given the opportunity, he would never let it go. He stood up and looked out the window. With the Hokage building as the center, Konoha's reconstruction has gradually radiated to the periphery. Using ninjas to build infrastructure, Konoha's reconstruction speed is not slow. Next, it's time to send someone to the country of Whirlpool to deliver compensation, and by the way, inquire about the situation of the country of Whirlpool and Tsunade. He looked through the alternatives. Found a familiar name. Namikaze Minato. Jiraiya's disciple has also graduated. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it and decided to let Namikaze Minato go there this time. See the world and brush up on your resume. Train him in advance. After all, he is also a disciple of his lineage. Moreover, Minato has good talents and is a civilian, so he is easy to control. The other side, Namikaze Minato received the mission with a surprised look on his face. He clutched the mission scroll tightly and stared at the 3 words, Whirlpool Country, on the mission scroll. On that day, the teacher of the ninja school said that Uzumaki Kishina had been in a low mood since he was kidnapped by the invaders from the land of Whirlpool. He even made up his mind that one day, sooner or later, he would rescue Kishina from the hands of the country of Whirlpool. Of course, he also had doubts at the time. Because he remembered that Kishina should have come to Konoha from the country of Whirlpool. Now that I have returned to the Kingdom of Whirlpool, why was I kidnapped? Shouldn't she be going home? With this doubt, he asked the teacher at the ninja school. Then I realized that the Uzumaki Kingdom had been destroyed before, and Konoha and the others, adhering to their alliance relationship, worked hard to save Uzumaki Kishina, the only seedling of the Uzumaki clan. Now that the Kingdom of Whirlpool has been rebuilt, but it has been occupied by other forces, Uzumaki Kishina's return to the Kingdom of Whirlpool is like a sheep entering a tiger's mouth. Hearing this, Namikaze Minato's heart tightened. I can't wait to rush to the Kingdom of Whirlpool immediately to save Juyi. Not only Namikaze Minato thinks so, almost all the students in the ninja school are brainwashed by their teachers to regard the country of Uzumaki as a villain who invaded Konoha and kidnapped Uzumaki Kishina. They share the same hatred and are gearing up to give the country of Whirlpool a good look in the future. And this is exactly what Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to achieve. He packaged Konoha as the victim and the Uzumaki country as the perpetrator. It aroused the emotions of common hatred and hatred in Konoha, brought them out of Konoha's declining mood, and enhanced Konoha's cohesion. It has to be said that Sarutobi Hiruzen's methods are very clever. Kato Dan, who also received the mission, stared at the content on the mission scroll, his eyes flashing with light. Although the mission mentioned escorting compensation supplies to the country of Whirlpool, the focus is indeed to find out the news about Tsunade. If possible, Tsunade must be brought back to Konoha. In addition to being a disciple of the third Hokage, Tsunade is also a princess of the Senju clan. To the villagers of Konoha, Tsunade is the symbol of the Senju clan. At the same time, Tsunade is still a real genius and is also in charge of Konoha's medical department. He is extremely talented in medical ninjutsu. Since Tsunade took control of Konoha's medical department, Konoha's casualty rate has been greatly reduced. It is impossible for Konoha to just give up on such elite talents. And Kato Dan is more concerned about Tsunade's situation. He has been eyeing Tsunade for a long time, but unfortunately he never had a chance. Now that the Uzumaki country incident happened again, Tsunade also plunged into the time and space ninjutsu of the Uzumaki country, which seemed to completely cut off the possibility between them. But this mission gave him hope again. This mission is exactly what I want. Kato Dan's tone was firm, but before doing it again, the content of this mission still needs to be discussed with Lord Danzo. On the surface, he is a civilian ninja with good luck. He has completed several important tasks for Konoha and obtained the qualification to learn a forbidden technique from the Book of Sealing. But behind it, there is indeed some root support. He is Lord Danzo hiding under Konoha. Root. Shimura Danzo's eyes flashed when he heard Kato Dan's report. Let Kato Dan lead the team. He thought of the forbidden technique, the spiritualization technique mastered by Kato Dan. This is an S-level soul ninjutsu that can cause the soul to leave the body. Transform yourself into a living soul, travel across distances and kill enemies. You can also control the opponent's body and enter the spiritual world of others. Of course, if the caster uses it well, this technique is not only used to kill enemies. He is also good at detecting intelligence and will not be noticed at all. Being able to be written into the Book of Sealing is enough to prove the terrifying nature of this technique. But the disadvantage of this technique is also very obvious, that is, after spiritualization, one's body must be protected by someone. Otherwise, once the body is discovered by the enemy, the body in the spiritual state has no ability to resist at all. As long as the body dies, the caster will not continue to live in the state of soul. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you are really good at planning. Shimura Danzo's deep voice echoed at the root's base. Although he has been dismissed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, General has also been dismissed. But as soon as these members of the root entered the root, he used the technique to eradicate them, even though he was no longer the leader of the root. These ninjas are still his subordinates. HMPH, the spiritualization technique is so useful, but it's just used to probe Tsunade. Hiruzen, you are still too indecisive. Shimura Danzo sneered, and as usual, he first despised Sarutobi Hiruzen. Then he ordered Kato Dan. In addition to the content of the mission, you must also use the spiritualization technique to explore the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Kato Dan lowered his head and said, Yes, Lord Danzo. Shimura Danzo's eyes were burning, and he continued, It would be best to record the Muji ninjutsu of the Whirlpool Kingdom and the forging technology of the sealed state. Yes, okay. Go ahead. Watching Kato Dan leave, he clenched his fists in excitement. Shimura Danzo is very confident about Kato Dan's spiritualization technique. Even on the battlefield, Kato Dan's spiritualization technique is a killer weapon for Konoha. Because no ninja can attack Kato Dan in the soul state. What's more, let alone attack, even if they look, they can't see it. Often without knowing what is going on, the companions around him have already fallen to the ground. This is the scary thing about lingua technique. In this world, there is no ninjutsu that can see and attack the soul. From this trip to the country of whirlpools, Kato Dan will definitely return with a full load. As long as he obtains the Muji ninjutsu and sealed state forging technology of the Whirlpool Kingdom, he can mass-produce ninjas similar to the blood successor limit among Gen members. Taking charge of Konoha is just around the corner. Hiruzen, since you refuse to give it, then I will take it myself. Hum hum. A deep laugh echoed from the base of the roots. Hokage building, Hokage office. Sarutobi Hiruzen has deep eyes. In fact, it's not that he doesn't understand the ability of lingua technique. But he kept an eye on it. Because the country of Uzumaki calls itself Shinigami, and among the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan, he once saw a forbidden technique. The corpses are sealed away. This is a forbidden technique that can seal the soul. But the cost is high. After sealing the enemy's soul, the soul of the caster must also be dedicated to Shinigami. Please give me flowers. The country of Whirlpool is also called Shinigami, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has long suspected that there is some connection between the two. What's more, since the Uzumaki clan has this forbidden technique to deal with souls, it is naturally impossible for Kato Dan to be unscrupulous in the country of Whirlpool. It was precisely because of this that he just asked Kato Dan to investigate Tsunade's situation, and not do anything unnecessary to avoid provoking a counterattack from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Konoha has just had some relief for a few days now, and he doesn't want Konoha to fall into conflict again. It's a pity that he was so cautious that Shimura Danzo was completely wiped out. The country of Vortex, Rukongai. Ju sneaked in from the underground and once again set foot on the land of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Before coming, he deliberately killed some people and then came to observe the situation in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Although he is not a combatant, there is no problem in killing a few ordinary people and some genin shunin. After what happened last time he was discovered, Black Zetsu no longer dared to rush into the majestic place in the middle. Can only wander around Rukongai. But he was not without gains. He stared at those familiar faces with solemn eyes, and thought to himself that it was true. Almost half of the people he killed before actually reappeared in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The state of these people, Black Zetsu can determine, is the state of their souls. The soul of the deceased did not go to the Pure Land, but came to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. This method can cut off the connection between the soul and the Pure Land. Except for the two unfilial sons Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura, he could not imagine anyone else who could possess such means. 0. He just couldn't figure out why these two traitors did this. However, his intuition told him that there must be some hidden secret. XEL. His plan to split the moon to save his mother was discovered by them. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. He has been hiding very well all this time, and even planning the rebellion between Indra and Ashura was not noticed by Otsutsuki Hagoromo. There must be other reasons. Black Zetsu felt uneasy. A sigh of relief filled his heart. If he doesn't understand the purpose of these two traitors, he will really not feel at ease. He narrowed his eyes and an idea came to his mind. Although I don't understand what Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura want to do. But wouldn't it be enough to just destroy the country of Vortex that is suspected to be connected to them? The more Black Zetsu thought about it, the more it made sense. However, this matter needs to be considered in the long term. The top priority is to return to Earth Country and report to Uchiha Madara on Uzumaki Nagato's situation. Moreover, if you want to destroy the country of Whirlpool, the power of Uchiha Madara is probably indispensable. But now Uchiha Madara is old. It seems that it is time to advance some plans. The changes in the Kingdom of Whirlpool and the speculations in his heart made him a little anxious. The mother must be rescued as soon as possible before an accident occurs. Not long after he left the country of Whirlpool. In the direction of the Kingdom of Fire, a caravan-like team rushed towards the Kingdom of Whirlpool. It was the compensation sent by Konoha. Stepping into the Kingdom of Whirlpool, everyone in the Japanese group was surprised by the changes in the Kingdom of Disease. Namikaze Minato stared at the country of Whirlpool, his eyes revealing perseverance. In my mind, I subconsciously remembered the day Uzumaki Kushina joined the class. That was the first time that he had such a deep impression on a girl. Namikaze Minato secretly clenched his fists and swore, "Wait for me Kushina, I will definitely rescue you back to Konoha." After waiting for a while at the border of Whirlpool country, the Shinigami of the patrol team let them in after receiving the agreed instructions. It was just a team delivering compensation, and Uzumaki Chihiro was not interested in seeing them, so he just asked a steward to receive them. Following the people from the country of Whirlpool, Kato-dan secretly assessed the situation in the country of Whirlpool. I was looking for a suitable place to use the spiritualization technique, and I also wanted to see if there was any trace of Tsunade. When he saw the outside of Rukongai, a flash of disdain flashed in his eyes. But the further inside he went, the more silent his expression became. Until I saw the heavy walls and gate of Seireiyan, I felt a silent shock in my heart. Even Namikaze Minato looks like he has never seen the world. He originally thought that the country where Kushina was kidnapped must be a very vicious place. Judging from the desolate place when he first arrived, his guess seemed to be correct. But until Jinglingting appeared in front of him, forcibly suppressing the shock in his heart, Namikaze Minato took a deep breath, and his eyes became firm again. Even though this country is so prosperous, they are still an evil country that invaded Konoha and kidnapped Kushina. Kushina, wait for my pill. Chapter 76 Minato. Come with me, Kushina, get out. Entering the Seireiyan, Kato-dan and others felt suddenly enlightened. The simple and majestic atmosphere blows in your face. They had never seen this kind of building in the ninja world, and it was really an eye-opener. Although they wanted to take a closer look at this amazing architectural complex, the tour leader obviously had no intention of showing them around. After all, they were only here to deliver compensation after the defeat, and were not Seireiyan's guests. After the compensation materials were delivered to the designated place, Rukuo Duan couldn't help but ask, "Don't you have to go and meet the Spirit King?" After receiving this mission, Kato-dan obviously did a lot of work and understood that the person who rules the Kingdom of Whirlpool now is a person called the Spirit King. Namikaze Minato had just graduated and had little access to information, so it was the first time he heard this title, and he was a little surprised in his eyes. Guan Shi glanced at them lightly. Although he didn't say anything, almost everyone present could feel the meaning of that look. What is your identity? Are you worthy of meeting the Spirit King? Kato-dan smiled awkwardly, but felt annoyed in his heart. After forcibly calming down, Kato-dan said shamelessly, "Then I can ask, how is the situation of our Tsunade in Konoha?" The manager said coldly, "No comment. You're Konoha's Tsunade. Now it's clearly Seireiyan's Tsunade." After hitting the wall one after another, Kato-dan smiled and didn't want to ask any more. But there was a glimmer of gloom in his eyes, which deeply engraved the face of this matron into his mind. After putting down the compensation materials, the Kingdom of Whirlpool showed no intention of receiving them and directly saw them off. Kato-dan has an expressionless face. Anyway, he has the spiritualization technique, so if you can't find out, forget it. After you get out, just find a place and use the spiritualization technique to explore it. By the way, kill this B************ D from the Kingdom of Whirlpool in front of you. 637, but Namikaze Minato was a little anxious and started to look around. It's not easy to come to the Kingdom of Whirlpool, let alone check out the spots, and you haven't even seen Kushina's face, so how can you save people? Just when he was thinking hard about finding a way, a flash of red suddenly flashed in his peripheral vision. Namikaze Minato turned around quickly and said in surprise, "Kushina-san." Uzumaki Kushina frowned and looked aside. The forehead protector of Namikaze Minato and his group made her understand that these people were ninjas of Konoha. I was a little surprised, but quickly came to my senses. Because I heard Brother Chihiro mention it in the morning that people from Konoha will come to pay compensation today. It just happened to her. The person who stopped her looked familiar to her. Golden hair, girly smile. Uzumaki Kushina suddenly realized. Ah, it's you, my sissy classmate. Fluctuation Minato. The sun-like smile on his face froze for a moment, then he hesitated and took a few tentative steps in the direction of Uzumaki Kushina. The leader's eyes suddenly turned cold and he asked. Uzumaki Kushina stopped him and said, "No need." The manager hesitated for a moment, then put the knife back and said, "Yes, Miss Kushina." This scene made Namikaze Minato stunned for a moment. What happened? Why does Kushina have such a high status in the land of Whirlpool? And you can walk freely here. There's no one watching over you. ... It doesn't look like he was kidnapped. In his mind, shouldn't people like Kushina be imprisoned in an interrogation room and tortured after being kidnapped by the enemy? Namikaze Minato's brain was a little down. But that's okay. If the Uzumaki country is so careless, there might actually be a chance to rescue Kushina. His eyes were firm again, but it was not enough to arouse the suspicion of the Uzumaki country, so he did not approach Kushina too deliberately. He just stood in a position that was not close, but where he could speak in a low voice so that only the other party could hear him. Uzumaki Kushina's eyes were dull. She is now very talented and bold, and she is not afraid of Namikaze Minato doing anything bad. Since becoming a Shinigami, she has not looked down upon Jonin very much. What's more, although Namikaze Minato was the chief voice of her previous ninja school, it seemed that she had just graduated and was not much better. Even Uzumaki Kushina was looking forward to him doing something dangerous so she would have a reason to beat him up. Back in the ninja school, she had been unhappy with the sissy Minato for a long time. It's just that this guy never gave her a chance to beat him. Namikaze Minato regained his sunny smile and said, "Long time no see, Kushina-san." Uzumaki Kushina said boredly, "Is there something wrong? If nothing happens, I'll leave first." Namikaze Minato was stunned. Why? Shouldn't Kushina be happy to see Konoha's ninjas? Maybe he's here to save you. Something's wrong. From the moment he saw Kushina, he felt something was deeply wrong. But I can't tell. Seeing him stunned, Uzumaki Kashina clicked her tongue and suddenly felt bored, turned around and left. Etc. Namikaze Minato hurriedly stopped her and whispered, Kashina-san, I am here to rescue you back to Konoha, but I need some cooperation from you. No matter what, let's rescue Kashina first. Moreover, the Kingdom of Whirlpool has no restrictions on Kashina, which makes his rescue plan less difficult. Huh, save me. Uzumaki Kashina's eyes widened, as if she was looking at a fool. Namikaze Minato hurriedly raised her index finger in front of her mouth and made a shush sound, for fear of being heard by the people from the country of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Kashina did not tolerate him, and pointed at herself and said, I, Uzumaki Kashina, this is the country of Whirlpool, this is my home. Save me. Return to Konoha. Are you mentally ill? Namikaze Minato stood still. Uzumaki Kashina didn't bother to talk to him anymore, turned around and left. Namikaze Minato subconsciously wanted to grab her arm. Uzumaki Kashina looked cold, stretched out a finger towards Namikaze Minato, and said coldly, Hado one charge. As soon as he finished speaking, Uzumaki Kashina's fingertips shot out a small shock wave, hitting Namikaze Minato's hand with a bang. Namikaze Minato's hand hurt, and she subconsciously took a breath of cold air. A wisp of green smoke appeared on the back of the hand and turned red. Namikaze Minato's pupils trembled, and her heart was shocked. Muji ninjutsu. Kashina, when did you learn this ninjutsu? Uzumaki Kashina said with a cold face. Get out. Namikaze Minato said firmly. No, I must take you back to Konoha. Uzumaki Kashina cut it unhappily, her eyes turned cold, and Shunko opened. The next second he appeared in front of Namikaze Minato, white hits Diao Kaki kicked him in the chest. So fast. Namikaze Minato's pupils shrank suddenly, and his excellent reflexes allowed him to quickly raise his arms to block his chest. Boom. Remembering the dull voice, Namikaze Minato quickly backed away. His arms were numb slightly, and his eyes couldn't stop widening. What a quick body flicker technique. He learned the body flicker technique early because he was spotted by Mr. Jiraiya before he graduated, but Kashina's body flicker technique was better than him. Moreover, taijutsu is different from Konoha fluid technique. It is a brand new taijutsu system. Plus Muji ninjutsu. Obviously, Kashina wasn't so strong when she was in school. Namikaze Minato was shocked, but Uzumaki Kashina didn't give him time. Hado number 4. White Thunder. The lightning flashed on her fingertips and burst out instantly. Namikaze Minato was shocked and subconsciously wanted to use the body flicker technique to leave, but the next moment, Kato Dan stood in front of him. Earth-style wall. A wall of earth rose, blocking Uzumaki Kashina's White Thunder. A dent in the earthen wall made Kato Dan secretly frightened. Just barely, we broke through the earth current wall. After blocking the blow, Kato Dan quickly raised his hand in a gesture of surrender and explained, sorry, my subordinate is not very sensible, let's leave now. After saying this, Kato Dan did not need to lead the way, and ran out of Seireiyan with others. Seeing this, Shi Guan said coldly, Miss Kashina, do you want to chase me? Uzumaki Kashina waved her hand, so Kake said, no need. On the surface, he looked indifferent, but he felt secretly happy in his heart. Finally beat this sissy. So cool. Haha. On the other side, after leaving Jinglington, Kato Dan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then glared at Namikaze Minato. This kid, how dare you make trouble in Jingling Court? I really didn't know that for such an important task, Master Hokage sent such a stupid young man and he didn't know what to do. However, Kato Dan did not dare to leave Minato alone. Through Gen's intelligence, he also knew the relationship between Minato and Jiraiya. This well-established Hokage lineage may be useful in the future if Namikaze Minato is saved now. Namikaze Minato followed Kato Dan's footsteps in confusion, with a blank look on his face. Why? Why did Kashina become like this? Why? Kashina would refuse his proposal. Wasn't Kashina captured by the Kingdom of Whirlpool? No. There must be something wrong with the country of Whirlpool. Maybe, Kashina must have been brainwashed by the country of Whirlpool. Kato Dan looked at Namikaze Minato looking like a defeated dog and shook his head. Still young, he said. You should go back first, I have other tasks. Yes, Kato Dan Jonin. Namikaze Minato came back to his senses a little and took a deep look at Kato Dan. He understood that Kato Dan's mission must be related to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. He also wants to stay. But then I thought about Kashina's attitude. Forget it, you still can't act rashly until you know Kashina's changes. He hesitated, and then left with the others. After seeing the other Konoha shinobi leave, Kato Dan's face instantly turned cold. Through previous observations, I found a very hidden cave. Prepare to cast the spiritualization technique. Originally, after the spiritual technique's soul left the body, in order to prevent accidents to the physical body, someone must protect it. But his mission this time is not only the mission of Lord Hokage, but also the mission of Gen. What's more, he doesn't trust these people either. Kato Dan checked the surrounding situation and set up enough traps. Then he formed a seal with his hands and shouted, Lingua technique. Kato Dan's body flashed with blue light, and a soul body separated from his body. Kato Dan's physical body had its eyes closed. The spiritualization technique can separate one's spirit from the body, turn it into a spirit body, and possess the enemy, causing the enemy's spirit to collapse from within and die. But once you become proficient, it can also be used for tasks such as intelligence exploration. Moreover, Kato Dan, who has turned into a spirit body, can also sense the location of other people's souls. And can also teleport to other people instantly. Kato Dan controls the spirit body, senses all souls in the land of Whirlpool, and searches for Tsunade's soul. But only this. Next, let him be shocked. What a rich soul concentration. His pupils were like an earthquake, and he exclaimed, "What is going on in this Whirlpool country? Why is there such a huge soul aura?" This discovery made him feel inexplicably uneasy. But now that it has come, he has no choice but to bite the bullet. Kato Dan's perception goes beyond Rukongai. The further inside, the more frightened he became. Because the soul concentration of the residents of Rukongai is getting higher and higher. Once you pass a zone, your soul concentration will reach a higher level. He suppressed his surprise and moved on. When he arrived at Jinglingting, there seemed to be fear deep in his soul. As soon as he got close to the wall, his perception was cut off. Kato Dan's spirit body suddenly opened its eyes, and its heart trembled. What was that just now? Just getting close to that wall gave him the feeling of being enveloped in a terrifying murderous aura. No, it's not a feeling, his perception is really cut off. What on earth is going on with that wall? Even the soul perception can be cut off. Something is really wrong with this country of whirlpools. He continued to try, using his perception to circle around the wall. As long as he got close, his perception would be cut off. Is there something sick in this country of vortex? Who in a serious country would build a high wall to defend against soul perception? He couldn't sense it, which made him a little angry. He subconsciously wanted to use his spirit body to investigate for himself. But when he thought about the feeling of being wiped out when he got close to that wall, he gave up. Try again, try again. If it doesn't work, try it next time. Fortunately, hard work is not afraid of those who are willing. Finally, he found a way to let his senses enter the jingling court. Well, just take the main entrance. This country of vortex is really evil. Kato Dan complained secretly. Suddenly, his spirit body opened its eyes suddenly, and their eyes suddenly lit up. Found it. Finally, in a remote place, I sensed Tsunade's soul. As long as you find Tsunade's location, it's easy. He didn't dare to use his spirit body to get close to the thick high wall. But as long as his spiritual technique can sense the location of other people, it can be teleported to that person in an incredible way. Even if he doesn't go through that door, he can still be around Tsunade. Kato Dan's spirit took a deep breath. Although the spirit body cannot breathe, this action can relieve his nervousness. Then open your eyes. The spirit body suddenly flashed blue light. The whole person disappeared into the cave in an instant. Only Kato Dan's body was left, sitting alone. Jing Ling Ting, the 4th team building. The courtyard where Tsunade is located. A blue light flashed past. With such a high-profile infiltration method, Kato Dan was not worried at all. Because he is currently in a spiritual state, there is no one in the ninja world who can see a spiritual body. Kato Dan opened his eyes, ready to search for Tsunade. But when his eyes dimmed, a knife cut him down instantly. Kato Dan's pupils shrank suddenly. Trespassing to Seireiyan, you will die. Chapter 77 Kato Dan. Tsunade-sama, why are you wearing clothes from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? If you dare to trespass into Seireiyan, you will die. A crisp scream sounded, and the blade with a cold light slashed straight down. Kato Dan's pupils shrank suddenly, his eyes full of disbelief. How can it be? He is clearly in a spiritual state now. How could anyone be able to see him? Kato Dan's mind was spinning rapidly, and his spirit body subconsciously made evasive movements. But he quickly realized that he was already a spirit, so what else was there to be afraid of? So what if I can see him? As a spirit, he is not harmed by physical attacks at all. A flash of pride flashed across Kato Dan's face. Being able to practice the spiritualization technique is what he is most proud of in his life. But soon, his pride froze on his face. Tear it apart. His left arm was severely chopped off with a white blade. Ah. A sharp pain from the depths of his soul made him howl endlessly. His spirit's face was filled with a ferocious look, his eyes were bloodshot, and he was staring straight at the severed left arm, muttering like crazy. No, impossible. My spirit body, how could it be attacked? While he was in disbelief, there was also a deep fear deep in his eyes. If he hadn't subconsciously made a move to dodge just now, what fell to the ground now might have been his head. Tisk, it's so noisy. The owner of the white blade took out Dao's ears with an annoyed look on his face. Kato Dan opened his eyes and looked at the owner of the white blade. Blonde hair, magnificent figure. There is only one person in his memory for these two iconic points. Seeing that the master of the white blade was about to swing the sword again, Kato Dan couldn't control his fear and shouted, Tsunade-sama, I am a ninja of Konoha. Tsunade's movements suddenly stopped. Kato Dan stared blankly at the white blade only 1 centimeter away from the tip of his nose, with lingering fear. The spirit body was so frightened that it trembled a little. If he had physical functions, he felt that he would have been scared to death at this time. He glanced at the white blade in fear. The knife gave him a suffocating feeling of death. Why aren't spiritual bodies invisible and intangible? Why did it suddenly stop working? He roared in his heart, but no one could answer him. Konoha Shinobi. Tsunade put away the knife and looked him over, and indeed found that he was wearing Konoha's forehead protector on his forehead. And this state, spiritualization technique, sneaking into the Chamber of Commerce as a spirit. Tsunade could only say one word, Stupid. Seeing Tsunade stop, Kato-dan breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the spirit body that fell to the ground distressed-edly. I wonder if there is anything wrong with soul missing an arm. I also felt a little aggrieved. The flood really washed away the Dragon King Temple. I wonder if Tsunade's superb medical ninjutsu can reconnect the severed soul. Since you can attack his spirit body, you should be able to heal it too. At the same time, Kato-dan also has new ideas, maybe he can get closer to Tsunade through this incident. But he was a little confused about Tsunade's current appearance. Stop playing with strange powers and switch to using swords. And isn't this black outfit the same as those from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Besides, why could Tsunade see his spirit body and cut him with a knife? But he didn't care, as long as he could confirm that Tsunade was still intact. What are the ninjas of Konoha doing in Seireiyan? Tsunade frowned and stared at him closely, as if he answered incorrectly, he would kill him immediately. Kato-dan trembled and immediately replied, Hokage-sama sent me to escort the compensation to the country of Whirlpool, and to inquire about Tsunade-sama's situation. If possible, bring Tsunade-sama back to Konoha. Tsunade's expression did not change, he raised his eyebrows and said, no more. Yes. Kato-dan tried his best to control his expression that was distorted by the pain of tearing his soul. Try not to look too embarrassed in front of Tsunade. As for Gen's mission, he couldn't possibly tell Tsunade. Kato-dan asked with expectation, Tsunade-sama, when you return to Konoha, can you help me reattach that arm? Tsunade looked at the arm that fell to the ground and said calmly, it's just a trauma to the soul, it's nothing. The former Tsunade might still be helpless, but now that she has become a Shinigami and has even mastered Kaido, healing her soul is already within reach. Kato-dan instantly showed a surprised expression. Really? Since Tsunade can hurt the spirit body, how can he not heal the spirit body? And Tsunade's medical ninjutsu frightened him. As expected of a medical master, he has developed from the body to the soul. Tsunade stared at him with a half-smile, and suddenly said, but I can't go back to Konoha. Kato-dan was stunned for a moment, then smiled. How is it possible? Kai. Tsunade suddenly attacked, and the white blade in his hand mercilessly inserted into Kato-dan's shoulder, nailing him to the wall. Kato-dan howled like a killing pig, his pupils were shaking, and he looked at Tsunade in disbelief. He doesn't seem to understand why Tsunade would attack him. They are obviously companions from the same village. Why? Tsunade said coldly. I'm sorry, I'm already from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Quote exclamation mark quote. Kato-dan's eyes were dull. Already? Are you from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? What do you mean? He looked at Tsunade's back, and the black attire made him silent. I see. So this is Ha ha ha. Kato-dan suddenly went crazy and felt like a clown. He thought he was right and came to save the princess, but the princess had already surrendered to the enemy. He remembered that he was laughing at Namikaze Minato for looking like a loser. How could he not be the same now? Moreover, people in Konoha are eagerly waiting for Tsunade's return, and even Lord Hokage relies on news about Tsunade. The princess of Konoha has taken the shape of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. What happened to make Tsunade willing to serve the Kingdom of Whirlpool, and even to be merciless to the ninjas of Konoha? Konoha is the ninja village founded by your grandfather. Tsunade ignored Kato-dan's thoughts and directly called someone to take Kato-dan to the confession palace. Only then did Kato-dan realize that it was not Tsunade who had mastered the secret technique of being able to see and attack spirits. But, people here can actually see spiritual bodies and even touch them. No wonder Tsunade looked at him like that before. No wonder the soul aura of the Kingdom of Whirlpool is so strong. The Kingdom of Whirlpool is simply like a country that specializes in dealing with souls. Each one has the characteristics of special attack on the soul. Watching Kato-dan being escorted into the penance palace. There was no emotion in Tsunade's eyes. She had completely given up on Konoha. Life here is good. There are casinos, izakayas, friends with breasts as big as hers, and Nawaki, although Nawaki still doesn't recognize her. Also, the new Senju clan. Konoha, goodbye indeed. After personally taking down the Konoha shinobi who had sneaked into the Seireiyan, Tsunade also completely severed the bond with Konoha. Turn around and walk to Uzumaki Chihiro's address to report the incident on Kato-dan. After hearing Tsunade's report, Uzumaki Chihiro chuckled. As expected, Konoha would not be so willing. Kato-dan. He had some impression of this man. He is a man who lives in Tsunade's memories. But now, he has become a man arrested by Tsunade himself. Spiritualization technique. Uzumaki Chihiro thought of this feature of forbidden technique. If you dare to use your spirit body to sneak into Jingling Court, you are really a little white sheep entering the wolf's den, seeking death. Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes flashed. In addition to the spirit body, this forbidden technique should also have a physical body hidden somewhere. Uzumaki Chihiro ordered. Let people find Kato-dan's body, and then send it to Konoha to ask Sarutobi what Hiruzen means. If you can't satisfy me, then the Kingdom of Whirlpool doesn't mind sending troops to Konoha again. Yes, Rukia Kuchiki responded, and then went to give the order to the Spirit King. Uzumaki Chihiro looked at Tsunade and asked, how was your stay in the country of Whirlpool? Tsunade thought for a while. Kaido, it's not bad, I've made a lot of good friends, but Nawaki is a bit of a jerk and won't let me be my sister. How about, you help me? Tsunade rubbed his chin and said, if Lord Soul King speaks, he won't refuse to listen, right? The next day, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was gloomy as he looked at Kamono, who was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. At first glance, this is the state of using the spiritualization technique. However, Kato Dan was indeed sent back by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. This shows that what happened to Kato Dan happened. Moreover, Kato Dan's body fell into a deep sleep, obviously encountering a situation where his soul could not come back. I'm afraid, he was detained by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The Kingdom of Whirlpool indeed has a secret technique that can deal with souls. But now is not the time to pursue any of this. Sarutobi Hiruzen rubbed his temples, feeling a little headache. Kato Dan failed to infiltrate, and Konoha must give a reasonable explanation when faced with the question from the country of Whirlpool. Otherwise, he thought about the scene that night, and then looked at Mewtwo, who was not in the reconstruction stage. Sighed deeply. If it happened again, his position would probably be completely lost. Send a letter to the country of Uzumaki and say that what Kato Dan did is a personal act and has nothing to do with Konoha. Konoha has classified Kato Dan as a traitor and leaves it to the country of Uzumaki to deal with. In addition, I, Konoha, deeply regret that this happened and am willing to pay some price for it. I want the Kingdom of Whirlpool to be satisfied. Konoha must first cut ties with Kato Dan and then pay some price. If you do this, you will not continue to give the country of Whirlpool an excuse to make trouble. Yes, Anbu received the order from Master Hokage and rushed to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The base of the route. Shimura Danzo also received news that Kato Dan was arrested by the country of Whirlpool. After all, the people from the Kingdom of Whirlpool didn't hide it at all, and sent Kato Dan's body back in a high-profile manner, causing some sensation. Shimura Danzo's face was gloomy. I never thought that the Kingdom of Whirlpool would have the ability to restrain the spiritual technique. This country of Whirlpool is just like an iron barrel, with no place to penetrate. What to do? Could it be that the road to the Kingdom of Whirlpool has just been abandoned? The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen takes this matter very seriously, Anbu moves quickly. Moreover, the country of Fire and the country of Whirlpool are neighbors. So it took a day and a half to receive news from Sarutobi Hiruzen. Oh, justice cutting. Sarutobi Hiruzen is quite decisive in some aspects. There is a bear-bearing style. Then look to the next one. Appropriate compensation. Sarutobi Hiruzen, I am becoming more and more knowledgeable. This was the Sarutobi Hiruzen he knew. Faced with all kinds of rude requests, as long as you dare to ask, he dares to give it. Then, Uzumaki Chihiro pondered for a moment, wondering what kind of compensation he should ask for. To be honest, Sleepy Leaf has nothing worth asking for. But, there are indeed many talents in Konoha. He thought about what talents there are in Konoha now. Then, a name appeared in his mind. Uchiha Makoto. Uzumaki Chihiro opened his eyes, and a woman with the image of Yamato Nadeshiko appeared in his mind. It's her. It just so happens that the country of Whirlpool still lacks a Shinigami from the Uchiha clan. And I heard from Kushina that she had a good relationship with Uchiha Makoto when they were in Konoha. 667 happened to be coming over to be Kushina's best friend. Konoha, the mission-killing office. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. Uchiha Makoto. Why, it has to be the Uchiha clan. Since the last invasion of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, there is an invisible barrier between Uchiha and Hyuga and the higher-ups in Konoha. Although they are still respectful to each other, they are already separated from each other. Even in Konoha's high-level meeting, the two families were not interested. But unfortunately, the country of Whirlpool wants talents from the Uchiha clan. This will not only hollow out the foundation of their bloodline in Konoha, but also deepen the rift between Konoha and Uchiha again. Conspiracy. Naked conspiracy. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen could only hold his nose in recognition. Agreed, Konoha still has a chance to breathe. Disagree. What was waiting for him was another invasion from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Well, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed deeply. For the first time, I felt the fatigue of being a Hokage. He took a puff of cigarette and said helplessly, I can only visit Uchiha in person. Uchiha Station. Sarutobi Hiruzen was received by Uchiha Fugaku, who succeeded him as clan leader. After serving tea, Uchiha Fugaku said with a cold expression, Sir Hokage is here, Uchiha is far away to welcome you. I don't know, Hokage-sama came to my Uchiha, but what's the matter? Uchiha Fugaku is calm on the surface, but very wary on the inside. Bother you for something, especially Sarutobi Hiruzen, an old Yinbi. Being found by him is definitely not a good thing. Sarutobi Hiruzen first picked up the teacup and took a sip to moisten his throat. At the same time, he was thinking about how to talk to Uchiha Fugaku. When Uchiha Fugaku saw Sarutobi Hiruzen's hesitant look, he immediately understood that this was not a good thing. A feeling of sullenness suddenly arose in my heart. If you can't find them with good things, you'll remember the bad things, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen finished brewing and said, Fugaku, now Konoha is in crisis, only you, the Uchiha clan, can save Konoha. Is this such a big label attached to you? Uchiha Fugaku immediately lowered his body and said, No, everyone in Konoha still needs to work together. I, Uchiha, just contributed a little bit. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly held Uchiha Fugaku's hand and said sincerely, No, only you, the Uchiha clan, can save Konoha this time. Uchiha Fugaku frowned and secretly said something was wrong. But I also know that this matter cannot be avoided. So he said, Master Hokage, if you need anything, just ask. As long as Uchiha can do it, he will spare no effort. Okay. Okay. Sarutobi Hiruzen said hello 3 times, and then said sadly, this time, you may need to sacrifice Uchiha Makoto of your clan. Uchiha Fugaku was stunned on the spot. Beautiful. Shin. Chapter 78 Uchiha Fugaku. Dad just died, and he's sending his wife away. Makoto. Uchiha Fugaku was confused. Save Konoha. What does it have to do with his fiancé? He is ready to get engaged to Makoto and get married when he comes of age. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked sad and said seriously, Fugaku, you have to understand Konoha. Konoha has just suffered a heavy blow and is now at a critical moment of reconstruction. No more accidents can happen. Uchiha Fugaku. He understands Konoha. Who will understand him? Who will understand Uchiha? The last time Konoha was invaded, they, Uchiha, sacrificed their clan leader. This time he has to sacrifice his fiancé again. Konoha, you bullied Uchiha too much. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in his heart, and asked in a calm tone. So Hokage-sama, what is the reason that puts Konoha into crisis again this time? Although he knew that Kato-dan was sent back today with his life and death unknown. We also know that Kato-dan is an escort to the country of Whirlpool for compensation. But, such a simple task can cause problems. Sarutobi Hiruzen was embarrassed. In the final analysis, this matter is still his problem. If he had not sent Kato-dan to use the spiritualization technique to explore Tsunade's situation, he would not have been caught by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. It was obviously his mistake, but Uchiha ended up footing the bill. Even his old face was a bit unbearable, so he decisively distorted the facts. Anyway, no one else will know about the task assigned to Kato-dan. It's just him making it up. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes instantly became bloodshot, and he gritted his teeth and said angrily. It's not that the Uzumaki country is greedy. They actually said that our Konoha compensation was not sincere. Even Kato-dan Jonin was beaten by them. Moreover, they also named Uchiha Makoto to be sent to the country. It's really abominable. As he spoke, tears welled up in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes, and he said, I also want to fight back forcefully, but you also know the situation in Konoha. Konoha cannot withstand the Uzumaki Kingdom coming again. Uchiha Fugaku's eyes did not waver, and he believed Sarutobi Hiruzen's words. Hit Kato-dan. Then why did Kato-dan not suffer any injuries except being unconscious? Besides, Kato-dan is also quite famous among Jonin's group. The spiritualization technique impresses everyone who has seen it. Sarutobi Hiruzen specially sent him to the country of Uzumaki, but Uchiha Fugaku didn't believe that Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't ask him to do something in the country of Uzumaki. Moreover, if it was really the Kingdom of Whirlpool that launched an attack without any reason, then why, except for Kato-dan, did everyone else on the mission return safely? In short, Sarutobi Hiruzen's words cannot be trusted. This old guy can really act. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep look at Sarutobi Hiruzen who seemed to be in deep pain, then closed his eyes and said in a deep voice. Hokage-sama, I, Uchiha, haven't done anything sorry to Konoha, right? There's no need to keep catching me, Uchiha. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared and said angrily, what are you talking about? Do you think I am willing to sacrifice Uchiha? Uchiha Fugaku said nothing, and the meaning was self-evident. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed heavily. I also know that it is not easy for Uchiha, but the country of Uzumaki wants Uchiha Makoto by name, what can I do? If I had a daughter, I would definitely go to the country of Uzumaki for Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Fugaku snorted inwardly. You don't have a daughter, but you have a wife. Sarutobi Hiruzen persuaded him with emotion and reason. If Uchiha Makoto is not sent to the country of Whirlpool as required, Konoha will definitely be in danger again, and you Uchiha will not be able to survive alone. Uchiha Fugaku was silent for a moment, and then said in a deep voice, Master Hokage, Makoto, is my fiancé. Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned for a moment. He didn't know that Uchiha Makoto had this relationship with Uchiha Fugaku. It is indeed to let someone give their wife to another man. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent for a moment, and then said, engaged. Uchiha Fugaku was silent. Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief and said, if you're not engaged, it doesn't count. Fugaku, don't feel stressed. This Uchiha Makoto, he decided. He patted Uchiha on the shoulder and said earnestly, Fugaku, I understand how uncomfortable you feel, but for Konoha and for Uchiha, I just sacrificed a fiancé. You are also the clan leader of Uchiha now. If you don't think about Konoha, you should also think about Uchiha. Uchiha Fugaku's face turned pale, he clenched his fists, then closed his eyes, suddenly deflated, and said in a deep voice, I will think about it carefully, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi Hiruzen patted his shoulder happily, and then left the Uchiha tribe. The look of sadness on his face was long gone. Uchiha clan land, clan chief's residence. Uchiha Fugaku closed his eyes and fell into silence. I don't know what I'm thinking. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, and the scarlet three-tomo Sharingan rotated wildly, with faint signs of being linked together. Inform me, there will be a clan meeting at Nanhi Shrine tonight. The quiet time of night. The Managa Shrine in the Uchiha tribe suddenly lit up with flames. Inside Nanga Shrine, pairs of three-tomo Sharingans sit in a row. Everyone was filled with anger. Konoha bullied me Uchiha too much. Since the founding of Konoha, our Uchiha has not had a place for Hokage. Why does Konoha think of Uchiha when it is in trouble? Lord Clan Leader, I absolutely cannot agree to this. Why should I, Uchiha's woman, be used to stabilize Konoha? Sarutobi old dog, Lord Clan leader, if it doesn't work, we will do the opposite. Anyway, Konoha is currently lacking in strength. This is the opportunity for my Uchiha clan. Then it's my turn for the Uchiha clan to take the position of Hokage. No, Konoha is in a period of turmoil now. If we, Uchiha, attack, we will push Konoha into the abyss. Then why can Konoha push my Uchiha woman into the abyss with peace of mind? Almost everyone thinks that once Uchiha Makoto is sent to the country of Whirlpool, he will definitely not end well. The blood of his Uchiha clan has not been coveted for a day or two. The person named by the country of Whirlpool is a member of the Uchiha tribe, and she is a woman. Everyone knows Sima Zhao's heart. Once Uchiha Makoto is sent there, the end will definitely be very miserable, and Uchiha's Sharingan will even be expelled. This matter must not be allowed. Uchiha Fugaku sat in the main seat with his eyes slightly closed. The verbal exchanges between the militants and the conservatives are always heard in my ears. The two Uchiha factions were formed when second Hokage Senju Tobarama took office and kept suppressing Uchiha. It has been debated for many years now, but in the end no one can convince anyone. Fortunately, the previous patriarch's father was a conservative and was able to suppress the militant faction. Now that his father died for Konoha, he became the clan leader. Influenced by his father, he is also a qualified conservative. Well, it was before today. Now, after his father died, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked him to give away his future wife. This made Uchiha Fugaku feel depressed, forcing him to finally gravitate towards the main war faction. Enough. Uchiha Fugaku stopped their argument, and three Tomo Sharingan looked in the direction of the person involved. Third elder, what do you think? He was still very respectful to the third elder. Because he is Uchiha Makoto's grandfather. The third elder's face was expressionless, and the three Tomo Sharingan did not reveal any emotion. He turned to the side and said, Makoto, what do you think? Tell everyone. Of course the third elder doesn't want Makoto to go to the country of Whirlpool. But he also didn't want to see Konoha become lonely, let alone see a conflict between Uchiha and Konoha. He is a loyal conservative. As a former subordinate of clan leader Uchiha Madara, I witnessed the birth of Konoha together. He has deep feelings for Konoha. With Konoha on one side and his granddaughter on the other, he was also in a dilemma. Uchiha Makoto's eyes flashed slightly, and he felt inexplicably sad. From the moment her grandfather asked her, she understood that Konoha was more important than her in his heart. I also understand that Grandpa actually needs an answer in his heart. As for Uchiha Fugaku, she has no hope either. If we were really so determined, we wouldn't be having a meeting here to discuss it. Instead, he will actively refuse Hokage's request during the day. But he didn't. From this moment on, Makoto's heart was dead. She closed her eyes and was silent for a while. The country of Whirlpool. It seems to be Kushina's hometown. I don't know if it is different from what the teachers in the ninja school said. How is Kushina doing there? At this moment, Uchiha Makoto finally made up his mind and said with firm eyes, I'll go. What? Why? Makoto. Uchiha Makoto's decision shocked many people and exclaimed in disbelief. In their opinion, the country of Whirlpool is nothing less than hell for Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto, why do you dare to go to hell alone? The third elder's eyes were complicated, and he did not expect that Makoto would be so bold. A feeling of guilt welled up in my heart. Before Uchiha Fugaku proposed marriage, he did not refuse on behalf of the United States. This time, Konoha wanted to send Makoto to the country of Whirlpool, and he did not refuse on behalf of Makoto. What his grandfather did was really unqualified. Uchiha Fugaku's eyes were in a daze, as if he didn't expect Uchiha Makoto to be the answer. You refuse. As long as you refuse, I can fight Konoha for you. You, why don't you refuse? Uchiha Fugaku opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but when he saw the look in Uchiha Makoto's eyes, he gave up. Uchiha Makoto saw everyone's expressions. The thoughts in my heart did not waver in the slightest. Anyway, in Uchiha, it's just marrying Uchiha Fugaku. Whether it's Uchiha or the country of Uzumaki, she has no ability to decide her own destiny. Rather than doing this, it is better to use her meager life to exchange for Uchiha and Konoha's temporary peace. Can say that, let's repay Grandpa for his kindness in raising me. After this incident, she had nothing to do with Uchiha and Konoha anymore. The next day, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto in front of him with a look of relief. Okay, Uchiha is indeed the pillar of Konoha. He patted Uchiha Fugaku on the shoulder and promised. Don't worry, I will always keep Uchiha's efforts in mind. When Konoha gets through this period, I will not treat Uchiha badly. Wave Fugaku was expressionless, not swayed by Sarutobi Hiruzen's pie. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. Fugaku, please step aside for a moment. I have something to tell Makoto. Uchiha Fugaku looked at him deeply, and then left Hokage's office. After Uchiha Fugaku left, Sarutobi Hiruzen said seriously, Makoto, although Konoha has no choice but to send you to the country of Uzumaki this time. But don't worry, Konoha will take you back one day. So, even in the land of Whirlpool, never forget your identity as a Konoha shinobi. This is an S-class long-term mission. We in Konoha have always wanted to insert nails into the Kingdom of Whirlpool, but we have never had the chance. This request from the Kingdom of Whirlpool will give you the best chance. You are in the country of Whirlpool, Try your best to protect yourself, find out the secrets of the country of Whirlpool, and find a way to send it back to Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly burst into tears and said, Konoha will always remember your dedication to Konoha. Uchiha Makoto was stunned, finally witnessing the hypocritical face of Sarutobi Hiruzen in Kushina's mouth. She simply could not imagine that Lord Hokage of Konoha could be such a person. It's okay to use her in exchange for Konoha's safety. She's already in the country of Whirlpool, and you still want her to serve Konoha. I really don't miss out on her use value at all. Uchiha Makoto was a little tired, but she agreed on the surface. When she leaves Konoha, who cares who Konoha is? What's more, she herself doesn't know what's going on in the country of Whirlpool. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was filled with relief. I felt a little excited at the same time. He has always been worried about how to place spies in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Unexpectedly, the Kingdom of Whirlpool would present an opportunity. Moreover, he is from the Uchiha clan, great, so it is easier to find out information. After a while, the golden boundary gate appeared from the sky of Konoha. This familiar scene made everyone in Konoha feel nervous. I am afraid that the Kingdom of Whirlpool will attack again. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face twitched. At this time, the space ninjutsu was really unscrupulous. Those losers in the boundary class have been unable to come up with a plan for so long. Matsumoto Rangaku walked out of the boundary gate, glanced at the people in Konoha coldly, and then said, Where are the people? Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Fugaku glanced at Uchiha Makoto at the same time. Uchiha Makoto saw this and took a step forward. Matsumoto Rangaku's eyes lit up and he murmured in a low voice, Lord Soul King has good taste. She took Uchiha Makoto's arm and said, I will take him away. Seeing that Uchiha Makoto was about to step into the golden gate leading to the country of Uzumaki, Uchiha Fugaku still couldn't help but said, My lord, please treat Makoto well in the country of Uzumaki. Matsumoto Rangaku turned around, seemed to see something, smiled playfully, and said, Don't worry, this little girl is used to be a personal maid for Lord Ling Wang. I believe Lord Ling King will favor her well. As soon as the words fell, the golden door slammed shut. Disappeared in the sky of Konoha, along with the figures of Matsumoto Rangaku and Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Fugaku stared blankly at the sky, looking in a daze, mumbling. Maid, still close to me, favored, handsome, puff. Uchiha Fugaku felt a sword in his heart, extremely uncomfortable and cramping. The image of Makoto obediently serving the Soul King seemed to appear in his mind. The three Tomo Sharingan suddenly turned on and started spinning crazily. A tear of blood fell from his eyes, and the three Magatama also changed its pattern. Uchiha Fugaku closed his eyes, and when he opened them for the first time, his eyes had returned to normal. He said expressionlessly, Master Hokage, now that the matter is over, I will take my leave. Chapter 79 Makoto. I just applied for a job as a personal maid. Do I need to warm the bed? Uchiha Tribe Land. Nanga Shrine. Uchiha Fugaku came to Nanga Shrine alone, without an oil lamp in his hand. It was dark inside the shrine, and occasionally a few gusts of wind blew in, making a permeating sound. Every time Uchiha Fugaku takes a step, the decaying wooden boards on the ground make a creaking sound. He was driving a 3-Tomo Sharingan, and the dark environment could not block his vision at all. Opened the wooden door of the basement with ease. Walked in without hesitation. The basement of Nanga Shrine. Because no one has cleaned it all year round, the basement is full of spider webs. After the basement door was pushed open by Uchiha Fugaku, a wisp of wind poured in from the doorway, raising large amounts of dust. But these environmental factors did not affect Uchiha Fugaku at this moment. He opened a pair of 3-Tomo Sharingan and focused his gaze on a thick stone tablet in the middle. Uchiha Fugaku took a few steps forward and wiped the dust off the stone tablet with his sleeve, revealing the words engraved below. At this time, Uchiha Fugaku can only see part of the content about Magatama Sharingan. 3-Tomo Sharingan's eyesight is not qualified enough to see the rest of the content. The price of opening Mangekyo Sharingan turns out to be so heavy. Uchiha Fugaku groaned, and the 3-Tomo Sharingan in his eyes turned wildly. Soon, the 3 Magatama gradually blurred, forming a new pattern. Like an exquisite shuriken, surrounded by 3 black dots, it gives people a stunning feeling. At this moment, he finally felt the power his father had before. It was a power that looked down upon the world, but Uchiha Fugaku was calm because he understood. This is just an illusion brought to him by Mangekyo Sharingan's huge eye power. Even if he awakens Mangekyo Sharingan, there are many people in this world who can kill him. Just like those captains from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Perhaps, his father also understood the crouching tiger, hidden dragon in the ninja world, so he did not choose to expose Mangekyo Sharingan easily. However, it may also be to prevent the main war faction from expanding the country due to the clan leader awakening the power of clan leader Uchiha Madara. However, these don't matter anymore, although he gained this power. But at the same time, I lost my true love. If possible, he would rather not awaken Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Fugaku calmed down his mood a little. Use Mangekyo Sharingan to look at the stone tablet. At this time, new content also appeared in his field of vision. That is the content that Sharingan of 3817 Magatama cannot see. The method of opening Mangekyo Sharingan's eyes is recorded above. Is it possible to gain this kind of power only by experiencing huge negative emotions? Uchiha, you are worthy of being called a cursed clan. He was slightly stunned, as if he thought of the scene of Makoto stepping into the giant golden door. My heart suddenly began to throb violently. A suffocating feeling swept over him. Suddenly, he took deep breaths to relieve his condition. He concentrated slightly, trying not to think about Makoto. Then continued to read the content behind the stone tablet. Some of the ways to use the Mangekyo Sharingan are also recorded above, such as the respective pupil techniques, and the way to use Susanna. Beyond that, there are the dangers of Mangekyo Sharingan. Excessive use of Mangekyo Sharingan can lead to blindness. The only way is to evolve into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Fugaku felt in his heart that above Mangekyo, there is actually eternal Mangekyo. He had thought that Mangekyo was already at the top of Sharingan. How to open eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Suddenly, Uchiha Fugaku was stunned, and then tremblingly took out his father's Mangekyo Sharingan that had been on him. I see. No wonder, father, you would sacrifice one eye for blindness to leave me a Mangekyo Sharingan. Tears flowed from Uchiha Fugaku's eyes, and he looked hard, not letting down his father's kindness. Sure enough, the newly awakened Mangekyo Sharingan took off one and replaced it with his father's Mangekyo. The pupil of the right eye expanded again. Uchiha Fugaku can clearly feel that his right eye Mangekyo has been upgraded again. He tried to use the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan to see what was behind the stone tablet. But he discovered that he couldn't even see through the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Could it be that, on top of Sharingan eternal Mangekyo, can we go one step further? Uchiha Fugaku was shocked and could not recover for a long time. When he calms down, he won't care anymore. With the eternal Mangekyo in his possession, he already has a new goal in mind. That is, to bring Makoto back from the hands of the country of Whirlpool. And Konoha. Uchiha Fugaku has deep eyes. The other side. Black Zetsu was suddenly startled. The stone monument at Uchiha Managa Shrine was touched. Could it be that there is a new Mangekyo Sharingan user in the Uchiha clan? Black Zetsu has been paying attention to the Uchiha clan since Uchiha Madara formulated the plan for resurrection. Hopefully someone will emerge who can execute Uchiha Madara's plan perfectly. But it's a pity that they are not very qualified. He also went to see the last awakened Mangekyo. Black Zetsu couldn't see any strong desire in his eyes. This kind of person is not easy to control. I don't know if Mangekyo Awakener is suitable this time. The emergence of the Whirlpool Kingdom has given him a very strong sense of crisis. Uchiha Madara's plan must be completed as soon as possible. While he was thinking, he also successfully arrived at the cave where Uchiha Madara was. Black Zetsu looked at Uchiha Madara, who lowered his head and fell asleep, and said respectfully, Madara-sama. Uchiha Madara opened her eyes, and 3 Tomo Sharingan turned slightly, with some surprise in her eyes. Come back so soon. Black Zetsu said respectfully. I forgot to tell Madara-sama that as a product of Madara-sama's consciousness, this villain is very accomplished in stealth. Uchiha Madara was stunned, and then asked, have you found the reason? Black Zetsu respectfully reported. Back to Madara-sama, the Rinnegan holder is not in any danger. On the contrary, he is living well in the country of Whirlpool. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed and he looked at Black Zetsu's other half, White Zetsu. He didn't completely trust Black Zetsu, but White Zetsu, who had been with him for a while, made him trust him more. White Zetsu scratched his head and said, Black Zetsu is right. Uchiha Madara frowned slightly. Since nothing happened to Uzumaki Nagato, why couldn't he sense the connection with Rinnegan? Black Zetsu seemed to see Uchiha Madara's doubts and said, Madara-sama, this may have something to do with that weird Whirlpool country. It's the Kingdom of Whirlpool again. Uchiha Madara has heard the name of this country too much recently. Unexpectedly, the Uzumaki clan, which was just a mere clan at the time, would already have a decisive power in the ninja world. Black Zetsu worried. The holder of Rinnegan is living very well in the country of Whirlpool, and I'm afraid it will affect Madara-sama's plan. And the Kingdom of Whirlpool is extremely difficult to penetrate. Black Zetsu didn't say anything special about the country of Whirlpool, he just knew it in his heart. Once he talks too much, Uchiha Madara will doubt him. Uchiha Madara had an expressionless face and was not worried about any of this. As long as nothing happens to Uzumaki Nagato, nothing can affect the plan. He said. As long as Uzumaki Nagato is still there, there will be no problem. As for the country of Uzumaki. HMPH, when the time comes to make the country of Uzumaki a battlefield, Uzumaki Nagato's good days will be over. As the planner of the first war in the ninja world, he was already familiar with it. It is easy for him to provoke wars between several other major countries against the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The difficulty now is that there is no one who can execute his plan perfectly. Black Zetsu's eyes flashed slightly. As expected of the person he chose, he could solve the affairs of the Whirlpool country so easily. Then, the next step is the person who executes the plan. Black Zetsu took the initiative and said, Madara-sama, why don't you let the villain ninja world find a suitable executor for your plan? Uchiha Madara looked at Black Zetsu deeply with deep eyes. Oh, it is indeed the product of my will. It even knows my plan clearly. Hey, CDAF, Ju smiled modestly. Having spied on Uchiha Madara for so many years, he even knew exactly what color underwear Uchiha Madara liked. Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Uchiha Madara has completely let down her guard against Black Zetsu. Project Tsuki no Mi in his heart has never been told to anyone else. Even White Zetsu has not revealed it to them. And this is what he saw on the stone tablet in the basement of Nanga Shrine after awakening Rinnegan. It is impossible for anyone without Rinnegan to see the content on the stone tablet. Therefore, he is the only one in the entire ninja world who knows about Project Tsuki no Mi. Black Zetsu does not have a Sharingan, but can know about Project Tsuki no Mi. Apart from the reason that it is really his consciousness, Uchiha Madara really can't think of any other possibility. He stared at Black Zetsu and said, "Then I will look forward to your good news here." "Yes," Black Zetsu responded, then dived underground again. White Zetsu complained. "Ah, I just came back and have to leave." Uchiha Madara's eyes closed again, and the cave became silent again. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. Uchiha Makoto was brought to Uzumaki Chihiro's palace by Matsumoto Rangaku. She felt a little uneasy, lowered her head, and did not dare to look around. After Uzumaki Chihiro practiced, he came from the courtyard with a towel in his hand to wipe his sweat. He sat on the main seat and said calmly, "Raise your head." Uchiha Makoto's body trembled subconsciously. "I felt like crying without tears. Alas, when I was in Konoha, my heart broke and I came here. When the time came, I ended up retreating a bit. But now she had to take action." She bit her lip and raised her head with all her strength. His eyes looked forward subconsciously. Just one glance made her a little dazed. The master of the Whirlpool country seemed not as vicious as she imagined. On the contrary, he seems to be quite handsome. At least judging from the aesthetics of the Uchiha clan, who was used to seeing handsome men and beautiful women, the owner of Whirlpool country was definitely a top-notch handsome face. Uzumaki Chihiro is also sizing up Uchiha Makoto. The beautiful girl with long black hair and straight hair is obviously not very young, but she has the air of a married woman. Well, Uchiha Makoto can definitely cook well. At least better than Kushina. Say Kushina, Kushina is here. Ahem, backyard. Waves of thick smoke drifted over. Uzumaki Kushina kept coughing and saw a plate of black things coming over from a distance. His face was stained by black smoke and turned into a little cat. She stared at the food on the plate in her hand and hesitated slightly. Can this still be eaten? Uzumaki Chihiro, what do you think? She turned her attention to Uzumaki Chihiro and asked tentatively, "Brother Chihiro, why don't you try it?" Uzumaki Chihiro sighed and said helplessly, "I should have put you in Konoha from the beginning, so that you could rule Konoha with food." Hey. Uzumaki Kushina stuck out her tongue and was just about to run over and show off, when she realized that there was an outsider in the living room. I felt awkward all of a sudden. Uchiha Makoto hesitated and called softly, "Kushina." Uzumaki Kushina took a closer look, and then said in surprise, "Makoto. Why are you here in the country of Whirlpool? Are you a guest?" It's really Kushina. Seeing an acquaintance, Uchiha Makoto finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then she smiled tenderly, remembering what the big-breasted sister next to her had said before, and said, I seem to be here to be a personal maid for Lord Soul King." At the end of the sentence, Uchiha Makoto's face turned slightly red and he secretly glanced at Uzumaki Chihiro. She still knew what the personal maid meant. Uzumaki Chihiro is a little confused. Personal maid. He turned his attention to Matsumoto Rangaku, but found that Matsumoto Rangaku did not dare to look at him at all. Is this woman talking nonsense again? Can his majestic Lord Soul King attack these little girls? Personal maid. Uzumaki Kushina's eyes widened and she exclaimed. Then he looked at Uzumaki Chihiro with contempt. Pervert. Uzumaki Chihiro. What a disaster. Duh, but it would be nice to have Uchiha Makoto as a personal maid. At least, it can make Kushina give up going into the kitchen. Uchiha Makoto secretly looked at Uzumaki Chihiro and Uzumaki Kushina. The previous close relationship between the two made her a little concerned. This Lord Spiritual King seems to be very talkative. It's not as outrageous as what the village said. Moreover, she set her sights on their equally bright red hair. I had some guesses in my mind. Perhaps, completely contrary to what the village said. Kushina was not snatched away by bad guys. They just returned to their own homes. She had never seen Kushina with such rich expressions in Konoha. This just proves that Kushina is living a good life here. At this time, Uzumaki Chihiro also made a decision. Asked, "Can you cook?" Uchiha Makoto was stunned for a moment and said modestly, I know a little bit." "Okay, then you can be my maid." Uzumaki Chihiro made the decision directly. Uchiha Makoto's face turned red, until it reached his neck. The heart suddenly beat violently. Maid. She is indeed a personal maid. But the ending was better than she imagined. And the host who serves him is also eye-catching. She can. Uchiha Makoto encouraged himself in his heart. Only, what do maids do? Chapter 80. Wrestle with 8 tails and recruit a new captain. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 70. 18. 23. Uzumaki Kushina puffed her face and stared at Uzumaki Chihiro angrily. Personal maid, what exactly do you want to do? Isn't it enough to have her? What the personal maid can do, she, Kushina, can do it too. Uzumaki Chihiro saw Kushina's appearance and couldn't help but joked. What, you don't welcome Uchiha Makoto? Uzumaki Kushina's breath froze, and her eyes couldn't help but look at Uchiha Makoto. I saw Uchiha Makoto looking at her pitifully with tears in his eyes. Uzumaki Kushina sneered and said, "How is it possible? Of course I welcome Makoto." Uzumaki Chihiro borrowed the donkey from the slope and said, "Then take Makoto to get familiar with the situation at home." Uzumaki Kushina glared at him, and then took Makoto to familiarize herself with the home environment. So far, Kushina has never thought about why Uchiha Makoto suddenly came to the country of Whirlpool, and why she became Uzumaki Keixan's personal maid. It is estimated that when she reacts, she will cause another scene. Uzumaki Chihiro glanced at Matsumoto Rangaku, who pretended not to hear, waved his hand, and sent her away. Matsumoto Rangaku was immediately relieved and left in a hurry, fearing that Lord Soul King would cause trouble for her. Uzumaki Chihiro shook his head, and then checked the reputation value on the system panel. At this time, the reputation value reached nearly 300,000 again. Except for a small part of the reputation points obtained from other places, most of them were obtained from the Kingdom of Thunder. Uzumaki Chihiro plans to wait until he gets 400,000 yuan to try out and see what kind of roles he can get. Then he looked at the Land of Thunder screen on the monitor. Zamari was outnumbered and couldn't control the cursed eyes. Facing the overwhelming ninjutsu, his defense was dwarfed by comparison. If it continues like this, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on for long. Grimjow was also a little bit overwhelmed, but it was just a bit of fun, nothing serious. And his best Sero is also a big weapon against the large Cloud Shinobi team. One shot can take away one slice. Of course, Cloud Shinobi is not always jealous, and defensive ninjutsu are also released in a very orderly manner. The most eye-catching one should be the Yami battlefield. The Land of Thunder. Fourth Raikage has almost recovered. But he did not join the battle immediately, but shouted, "Cloud Shinobi, quickly retreat 1,000 meters away." The sound was like a loud bell, vibrating in everyone's ears. Hearing Master Raikage's voice, although the enemy is still rampant. But out of trust in Lord Raikage, the Cloud Shinobi retreated without any hesitation. Yami's eyes widened, and when he saw that the prey was about to be found, he immediately fired the blank bullet. Blasts a large swath of Cloud Shinobi to pieces. But the Cloud Shinobi did not hesitate and quickly evacuated. Third Raikage's eyes were about to burst, he clenched his teeth, and his fists were bleeding from the pressure of his nails. But he endured it. After seeing Cloud Shinobi withdraw from Yami's surroundings, Third Raikage took a deep breath and opened the amber bottle he had been holding on his back. Wisps of chakra gush out instantly and gather in front of Yami. Boom! A huge creature with a bull head and an octopus tail suddenly appeared in front of Yami in the Kingdom of Thunder. It has two corners, but one of the corners seems to have been cut off, revealing a smooth cut surface. That was the masterpiece of fighting the Third Raikage. As soon as Eight Tails Gyuki was released from the amber net bottle, he roared, "Third Raikage." The sound was shocking and the air flow was compressed instantly. Before being sealed, his horn had just been cut off. So full of rage for Third Raikage. But when he saw the situation nearby clearly, he was stunned for a moment. FK. Who was this guy who was neither human nor beast? Yami's eyes widened, and as soon as he heard that this guy came up, he attacked his appearance, and it was released by the Third Raikage, so he decisively listed it as a companion of the Kingdom of Thunder. He went up and punched Eight Tails Gyuki on the left side of his face. Boom! A thunderous sound exploded in the air, and the Eight Tails Gyuki company suddenly twisted. There was a blank look in his eyes. No, it's sick. Come up and punch it without any grievance. Eight Tails Gyuki was so angry that he didn't take it easy at all, and punched him in the same direction. Boom! Yami's face also received a punch and turned red. But Eight Tails obviously won't give Yami another chance to take action. The Eight Tails danced back and forth, lashing Yami's body. In an instant, there were several huge red marks on Yami's body. When Third Raikage saw this, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Eight Tails would come out and not be able to defeat this Yami. However, fortunately, the situation is very good now. And it looks like Eight Tails can beat that giant. But don't let any more accidents happen. In fact, he is not worried about Eight Tails. With the amber bottle, it is not easy to suppress Eight Tails. However, his amber purge bottle can only suppress one Eight Tails. If there are more, he is afraid that the amber purification bottle will burst. Now that these two monsters can torture each other, it can be regarded as solving the urgent need of the Kingdom of Thunder. Roar! Yami roared. Unforgivable. Third Raikage raised his eyebrows. Hearing Yami say this, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. Eight Tails Gyuki thought he was noisy and slapped him again. Kai. At this moment, Yami's body suddenly turned red, and wisps of steam seemed to come out of his body. What's the situation? Eight Tails Gyuki hurriedly retracted his tail, fearing that the monster's body would steam his octopus tail. Boom! A shocking heartbeat came from Yami's body. Under everyone's gaze, Yami's body expanded again. Cloud Shinobi stared blankly at the towering Yami and murmured, "Monster, what a monster. It can actually grow bigger. This guy is too outrageous." Third Raikage frowned and said secretly that it was true. The last time I heard the words, "unforgivable," Yami immediately transformed. Another sentence this time, another transformation. Is his ability really related to anger? I just don't know what the limit is. If there is no limit, then the Kingdom of Thunder may be in trouble. He must be defeated in one fell swoop before he becomes angry again. Eight Tails, this guy can make his body soar with anger. Try to defeat him before he accumulates enough anger next time. Third Raikage's words rang in Eight Tails Gyuki's ears. Eight Tails Gyuki's eyes widened before he reacted. Damn it, this piece of shit Third Raikage is actually using his country of thunder to destroy the enemy. You just broke Lousie's horn, and you still want Lousie to work for you. How could such a good thing happen? Eight-Tails Gyuki was about to give up. But his previous attacks on Yami had already made Yami consider him an enemy. There is no way to escape from the battlefield. Plus, Eight-Tails Gyuki cursed in his heart and could only helplessly continue wrestling with Yami. My heart felt as uncomfortable as eating shit. Not only must he be locked up in a jar by the third Reikage, but he must also serve his country of thunder. Boom. Yami and Eight-Tails Gyuki collide. The whole earth seemed to be shaking. The Cloud Shinobi watched in stunned silence as the two giant beasts collided, their bodies feeling a little weak. Especially the earth turned over like an earth dragon under their movements. Some who didn't react in time were shocked and sat on the ground. Gudong. Everyone couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Every blow from the two giant beasts was as if it was made in heaven. Eight-Tails Gyuki was also secretly frightened. What on earth is this guy? How dare you wrestle with his 8 tails? Could it be that the old man from Six Paths has created a new tailed beast? But this look is neither human nor beast. How could it be a tailed beast? After not seeing each other for so many years, has the aesthetics of the old man from Six Paths been downgraded? Boom. Eight-Tails' horns hit Yami on the head. The crisp sound proves that both of them are good heads. Eight-Tails Gyuki's eyes lit up. What a great opportunity. He opened his mouth wide, gathered a black energy ball, and then swallowed it in one gulp. Get ready to give Yami a tailed beast bomb. The tailed beast bomb was compressed very quickly in its mouth, and then it opened its mouth wide, and once the golden energy column exploded, it poured into Yami. Eight-Tails Gyuki was just about to use the true tailed beast and never look back at the explosion, but suddenly he saw Yami's equally big mouth and a red energy column being blasted out by him. The golden energy column and the red energy column meet instantly. The terrifying impact blew up the biting wind, lifting up the surrounding land. Even the Cloud Shinobi, who were thousands of meters away, were shaken by the wind. They put their arms in front of their eyes, and the local dust entered their mouths and noses. Boom. The energy pillars collided, and after a stalemate for a while, they exploded instantly, forming a mushroom cloud. Third Reikage smacked his lips. Damn it, this guy can actually compete with 8 tails at a 50-50 level. A guy with a number 0 number can compete with 8 tails, but you tell him there are 10 such opponents in total. No. The power of 10-tailed beasts. Mad, no one in the ninja world should stop playing and admit defeat. With the fighting power of 10-tailed beasts, which ninja village can defeat this? Unless we can gather the power of all the tailed beasts. Etc. Third Reikage's eyes widened and he seemed to have thought of a solution. He no longer paid attention to the movements on the battlefield, but instead thought about the feasibility of his own ideas. Please give me flowers. The mushroom cloud dispersed, and Eight-Tails Gyuki waited for Bullseye, looking at Yami in surprise. Good guy, I said you are not a tailed beast. There's even a tailed beast bomb. Of course, Eight-Tails Gyuki can also clearly see that the principle of the red destructive beam is different from his tailed beast bomb. It's just that the form of expression is almost the same. But this also shows how frightened he is about Yami's abilities. Eight-Tails Gyuki narrowed his eyes and noticed the tail waving behind Yami. A tail. Could it be that Shukaku was remade by the old man from Six Paths because he was too weak? Before he could think about it, Yami came to him again. It was another fist-to-fist fight. Eight-Tails Gyuki couldn't stand Yami's surge in power again, so he directly distanced himself, and countless small black energy balls gathered around him. Then they were all swung out by Eight-Tails Gyuki's tails. Yami took his time and used dummy bombs to intercept all Eight-Tails Gyuki's small-tailed beast bombs. Again, Eight-Tails Gyuki was dumbfounded, and suddenly felt like he was looking in the mirror. How come the skills he knows can also be used by his opponent? In an instant, the war between Eight-Tails Gyuki and Yami was in turmoil. The Cloud Shinobi looked at each other. What should I do if I can't even defeat the enemy with 8 tails? 8 tails is already the most powerful existence in their eyes. He is the top powerhouse second only to 9 tails. Exclamation mark. Even Lord Reikage could only suppress 8 tails with the use of amber purifiers. But this giant, this enemy suddenly invaded the Kingdom of Thunder. 0. It's actually on par with 8 tails. Could it be that he is also a tailed beast? Is it a very new type of tailed beast? Moreover, they did not dare to go up and help. If they dare to get even closer, 8 tails will probably destroy them as enemies. When Third Reikage saw 8 tails and Yami in a stalemate, their thoughts suddenly became firm. The Kingdom of Thunder alone may not be able to defeat these voids. Although Shu can't completely take over the Kingdom of Thunder. But as long as the fighting continues in the Kingdom of Thunder, this kind of loss cannot be borne by the Kingdom of Thunder. The situation must be broken. Third Reikage frowned and instructed Anbu next to him. Go and send a letter to the other 4 countries, saying that I am going to hold a 5-shadow conference, and the location should be the Kingdom of Iron. The Iron Kingdom is a neutral country, and the location of the 5 Shadows Conference can make everyone feel at ease. Yes. Anbu took the order and disappeared. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. After Uzumaki Chihiro watched the blockbuster for a while, the reputation value of the system panel increased a little again and successfully exceeded the 50 million mark. It seems that 8 Tails' influence in the Kingdom of Thunder is quite large. And Yami, who was able to compete with 8 Tails, shocked them even more. So during this period, Uzumaki Chihiro's reputation has skyrocketed. Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes flashed and he decided to recruit troops. This time let's recruit the Shinigami camp first. It's been a while since I drew a card from the Shinigami world. System. Change the troops to the Shinigami camp, then stud them all to recruit a hero troop. With more than 500,000 reputation points, recruit a heroic unit. Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't know who he can recruit. But he estimated that due to the probability, there won't be any characters that are too out of the ordinary. For a character like Yamamoto Genryusai, Uzumaki Chihiro is not expected to have less than 800,000 reputation points. While Uzumaki Chihiro was thinking, the long-lost Golden World Traveling Gate appeared. Tread. A figure appeared from the gate. He is nearly 2 meters tall, with curly medium-length hair with long dark brown bangs and a ponytail with 2 windmill-shaped fancy hairpins pinned to the ponytail. He wore a bamboo hat and a pink yukata with patterns embroidered on top of Captain Haori. There is a wine bottle on his waist. Hieraku Shunsui. For a moment, his name appeared in Uzumaki Chihiro's mind. Doesn't it seem like a loss? Hieraku Shunsui is also very strong. The combat power should be at the next level of Yamamoto Genryusai. And after the death of Yamamoto Genryusai, he successfully served as the captain of the Gotei 13th Division. But from this point of view, Hieraku Shunsui's strength is definitely not low. And his Zanpakuto ability is also very special. In short, the Kingdom of Whirlpool has added another strong general. Completed recruitment of Hieraku Shunsui. It's almost time to rest. I took a shower and was getting ready to go to bed. But he found a bulge in his bed. Uzumaki Chihiro thought it was Kushina again, so he lifted the quilt mercilessly, prepared to teach her a lesson, and then kicked her back to his room. But when he saw the people inside clearly, he was a little dumbfounded. Makoto Yu. Chapter 81 5 Shadows Talk, Hieraku Shunsui appears. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 554. 139. 185. Uchiha Makoto huddled in bed, his face flushed, blinking, not daring to look at Uzumaki Chihiro. Uzumaki Chihiro was silent for a moment and asked in confusion, "What are you doing?" Uchiha Makoto hesitated and said, "Here, warm the bed for the master, master." The word, master, made Uchiha Makoto feel very embarrassed. But based on her experience from reading the storybook, since she has become a personal maid, she should change her name to master. Although the position of personal maid will make her responsible for some very shameful tasks, it is already much more than she imagined before coming here. She must cherish this opportunity. So on the first day she took office, even though her master didn't tell her what to do, she still consciously came over to warm the bed. Uzumaki Chihiro was silent for a while, then patted her head. "Well, you did a good job." What could he say? He could only encourage her. "But I'm ready to rest now. Do you want to come together?" Seeing Uchiha Makoto, who had no intention of getting out of bed, Uzumaki Chihiro reminded him. I'm sorry." After apologizing, Uchiha Makoto fled. Uzumaki Chihiro shook his head, not to mention that the bed was indeed much warmer than before. The other side, Uzumaki Kushina's bedroom. Uzumaki Kushina saw Uchiha Makoto running in a panic, and couldn't help but wonder, "Makoto, what did you do?" Uchiha Makoto blushed. "No, I didn't do anything. I can't say that I went to warm your brother's bed." The next day, Cloud Shinobi Village announced the convening of the 5-Cage Conference to discuss major issues related to the life and death of the ninja world. This notice made several other ninja villages look confused. How come they don't know that the ninja world has reached a point of life and death? Moreover, Konoha and Sans, 663, Hidden Village are still at war. Isn't it awkward for the shadows of their 2 villages to meet? Earth Country, Iwagakure, Onoki, who has 2 scales, stared at the invitation from Cloud Shinobi Village in his hand, his mind filled with questions. What the hell is Third Raikage, this reckless man, planning to do? Although he said that Raikage was a reckless man, he knew very well in his heart that Raikage was simply full of evil. This guy seems to be acting recklessly, but he is very careful in his actions. If you are not careful, you will be tricked by Raikage. But he had no intention of rejecting this 5 Shadows talk. Anyway, the location is the Kingdom of Iron. Except for the cage from each ninja village who can bring 1 guard, no one else can enter the Kingdom of Iron. With the guarantee of Iron Country, the safety factor is quite high. If he doesn't go, wouldn't it mean that Onoki is a coward? Moreover, since it is the 5 Shadows talk, then the Whirlpool country, which had just become one of the 5 major countries not long ago, should also send people. Just take this opportunity to see this mysterious country of Whirlpool. The land of the wind, San Shinobi. Third Cage, who received the news, couldn't figure out what Raikage meant. Don't you know that they are having a heated fight with Konoha? Will the 5 Shadows conference be held at this time? Do you really not take their war seriously? In the land of fire, when the leaves are trapped. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also unaware of Raikage's inexplicable behavior. Why is it that the 5 Shadows conference is still being held? If he remembered correctly, the last time the 5 cages had a meeting was when Shodai sat in a row and divided the tailed beasts. Kingdom of Thunder, what happened? It is also a matter of life and death for the ninja world. With such a big hat on, it's hard not to think about it. In that case, let's go see what Raikage wants to do. It's just that he has to carefully consider the choice of guard. Since you can't bring too many people with you to the Kingdom of Iron, the strength of the guards must not be too weak. In order to avoid any accidents, the strength of the guards cannot cope with it. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't believe that the other cage will abide by the rules peacefully. He searched in his mind for a suitable escort. Then a figure appeared in his mind. Orochimaru. The most suitable person who is still in the village now is probably Orochimaru. I don't know what Orochimaru is doing these days. He spends many years working on weird things in his laboratory. Even missions to the front line were rejected several times. It just so happens that Orochimaru's strength is not weak, so it would be appropriate for him to be a bodyguard. In fact, he had a better candidate in mind. Hatake Tsukumo. After the last recuperation, I resumed training. I don't know if it's because he was enlightened by the captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool or something else, but his strength has also been improving by leaps and bounds in recent times. If you take Tsukumo with you, no matter what happens, you will be safe. Unfortunately, Hatake Tsukumo was already transferred to the front line by him. Let Orochimaru come over. The Kingdom of Whirlpool, Jinglingting. Rukia Kuchiki and Uzumaki Chihiro report news from the Land of Thunder. Five Shadows talk. Uzumaki Chihiro was slightly surprised. Did he remember that this was not the beginning of the Fourth Ninja War in the original work? Why is it that the Five Shadows talks have already begun before World War II is over? However, when he heard that Reikage had initiated this meeting of the Five Shadows, he felt thoughtful for a moment. What could cause Reikage to have such a change should be related to the hollow he sent out. He didn't expect that Shu would bring such great pressure to the Kingdom of Thunder and Reikage. Rukia Kuchiki asked for instructions. Lord Soul King, do we need to send someone there? Uzumaki Chihiro chuckled and said, go, of course. He wanted to see what the movie was trying to do. And knowing the content of their conversation can also play a role in his future plans. With such a big scene, how could the Kingdom of Whirlpool not join in the fun and gain a wave of reputation? Moreover, this five-cage meeting gave Uzumaki Chihiro some inspiration to improve his reputation. However, these are just some of his ideas. How to implement them requires long-term planning. Then he began to think about who the Whirlpool country would send to the Five Shadows conference this time. The candidate must be chosen from among the captains. In his mind, the faces of each captain flashed, and suddenly a man who looked like an uncle appeared. His eyes lit up, and he thought of Kyoraku Shunsui, who had just been recruited yesterday. The decision is yours. Inform the captain of the 8th Division that this time the task of the Five Shadows conference will be handed over to him. Yes, Rukia Kuchiki still diligently performs all the tasks of the Soul King. The 8th Division team building. Kyoraku Shunsui, who was enjoying a glass of wine while admiring the flowers, suddenly narrowed his eyes and saw the hell butterfly flying towards him. A hint of helplessness flashed across his lazy expression. Hey, it looks like he's about to have a mission. Soon, Rukia Kuchiki's voice came from inside the hell butterfly. Instructions from Lord Soul King, Captain Kyoraku Shunsui of the 8th Division, go to the Kingdom of Iron to represent the Kingdom of Whirlpool and participate in the Five-Cage Conference mission. After hearing the instructions from Lord Soul King, Kyoraku Shunsui's expression became more serious. Listen carefully to what this mission is about. When he learned that he was just on his way to a meeting, Kyoraku Shunsui immediately relaxed. Fortunately, it's not a too troublesome task. What a blessing. Kyoraku Shunsui stood up and suddenly shouted, Nanao-chan, we're on a mission, get ready, we're going to leave soon. Eyes Nanao heard the sound and appeared quickly. Her eyes are purple and she wears glasses, her hair is black, her bangs are tilted to the left, and her expression is serious. Lord Soul King's mission. Then hurry up and set off. After hearing the mission of Lord Soul King, Eyes Nanao did not dare to delay at all for fear of missing the time. The two soon set off on the road to the Kingdom of Iron. On the way, Eyes Nanao also learned the content of this mission from Kyoraku Shunsui. The eyes looking at Kyoraku Shunsui were full of doubts. Why would Lord Soul King entrust such an important task to this lazy and frivolous uncle? What should we do if the image of our country of Whirlpool is ruined? Hey, Xiao Nanao, your eyes are very rude. Eyes Nanao did not restrain himself at all when he heard Kyoraku Shunsui's condemnation. He whispered in a low voice, I hope I won't mess up the mission of Lord Spirit King. Ninjas are not slow on their feet. In addition, it is not the movement of large troops. Shadow and Guard will be faster. In one day, the Five Shadows meeting came as scheduled. Iron Kingdom building. There were densely packed warriors around it to protect the safety of the Five Shadows conference. In a conference room inside the building, a round table was already filled with 4 people. They are Hokage and Sarutobi Hiruzen from Konoha village in the Land of Fire. Behind him is Orochimaru, who is doing nothing. The third Reikage of Cloud Shinobi village in the Land of Thunder. Behind him stood a young man with a relatively unconventional hair color. His name is Barubi, Iwagakure of the Land of Earth, Onoki with 2 scales, and behind him is his son Yellow Earth. Sunagakure, the third Kazekage of the Land of Wind, has Rasha behind him. The 4 shadows gathered together, and the momentum was so overwhelming that their bodyguards did not dare to breathe. Heartbeat. But the 4 shadows paid no attention to them, just took the empty seat. Normally, this location should be Mizukage, the Kingdom of Water. But now the Kingdom of Water has fallen under the rule of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, so the owner of this position should be the mysterious Spirit King of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But all 4 of them have arrived, but the one from the Kingdom of Whirlpool has not come yet. Third Reikage crossed his arms and snorted coldly, humph. The Kingdom of Whirlpool is such a grand event, and it made the 4 of us wait for him for so long. Onoki, the 2-person scale, said calmly, after all, it is the most popular country recently, and it has also surpassed the Kingdom of Water to become one of the new 5 major countries. It is normal to be a little arrogant. Sarutobi Hiruzen made no comment, just silence. What could he say? They, Konoha, had just been beaten violently by the country of Whirlpool, and it was themselves who were embarrassed. But third Kazekage obviously didn't want to miss this opportunity to choke Konoha, so he said. Aren't Konoha and the Uzumaki country allies? I don't know if the Uzumaki country has any plans to send people to attend the meeting. After saying that, third Kazekage pretended to be suddenly enlightened and said. Ah, I'm so sorry, I forgot that the country of Uzumaki has severed diplomatic relations with Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. This B***ch is so hermaphrodite. Third Raikage and 2 Scales Onoki didn't care about the grudge between them. But third Kazekage's words also reminded them. This country of Whirlpool didn't say it would come. Onoki, the 2-person scale, asked, has the Kingdom of Whirlpool notified you about the coming of the Kingdom of Thunder? Third Raikage's face darkened and he said solemnly, no. The news they sent to the Kingdom of Whirlpool seemed to have disappeared into the sea, with no news at all. If you can't come, I'll give you a reply. So you don't take their Kingdom of Thunder seriously. Onoki, the 2-person scale, also frowned and suggested, wait a little longer. If the Kingdom of Whirlpool hasn't sent anyone yet, then let's get started. The others also nodded and had no objections. After a while, third Raikage said impatiently, forget it, I don't think the Kingdom of Whirlpool will come, let's get started. The others nodded, a little impatient, and were about to agree. The door of the conference room suddenly creaked and was pushed open from the outside. Everyone immediately turned their attention to it. A large figure nearly 2 meters tall bent over and walked in. He was wearing a bamboo hat, a patterned pink bathrobe, and a jug of wine on his waist. Around it, red petals fell gently from nowhere, giving people a very coquettish feeling. This way of appearing made everyone present fall into silence. Oh, I'm so sorry, I seem to be late. Hiroku Shunsui continued with a frivolous tone. However, the protagonist usually appears last, so please understand it. Main character. What a loud tone. The thought arose in others. The eyes looking at him were also full of indifference. Especially third Raikage, he clenched his fists and wanted to go up and punch his angry face. He was actually made to wait for such a long time on 4.4 and acted as if it was a matter of course. Hiroku Shunsui didn't pay attention to them and sat on the only empty seat. It wasn't until he sat down that everyone discovered that there was a girl standing behind him, mechanically scattering flowers. Hiroku Shunsui smiled awkwardly and said quickly, okay, Naneo-chan. Eyes Naneo glanced at him expressionlessly and stopped in shame. If it weren't for the face problem of the Whirlpool country, she would have smashed the flower petals on his head. The other 4 shadows twitched. This guy is really unique. Could it be that this guy is the spirit king of the Kingdom of Whirlpool? It's completely different from what they imagined. This uncle with a frivolous and lazy look cannot possibly be the mysterious leader who commands so many powerful men, right? Only Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru's expressions did not change. They know that the true master of the Uzumaki country is Uzumaki Chihiro. This person should also be the captain of the Whirlpool country. Maybe. They were also very doubtful. The captains of the Kingdom of Whirlpool that I have seen before all have serious and indifferent expressions, as if they should not be approached by strangers. Why does this guy feel that his style of painting is different from other captains? And the look of that S**T just now. Hiss. Is he really the captain? Just then, Hiroku Shunsui gave them the answer. Kuni no Kuni, captain of Gotei 13 Division 8, Hiroku Shunsui. Hiroku Shunsui glanced at everyone's faces and chuckled. This is our first meeting, please give me some advice. Chapter 82 Kyoryu. You are not worthy to be in the same frame as the Soul King. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 85. 21. 28. This is the first time we meet, please give me some advice. Hiroku Shunsui's slightly frivolous tone sounded in the conference room. Captain of Division 8. The eyes of everyone present suddenly froze. He's not the mysterious spirit king from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Instead, only one captain was sent to attend the meeting. Simply arrogant. Which one of you here is not the shadow of a village? You, the country of Whirlpool, just use a captain to deal with them. For a moment, almost all the shadows present and their guards were furious. He glared at Hiroku Shunsui. Only the old gods Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru were there, seemingly indifferent. Sarutobi Hiruzen was used to being bullied by the Uzumaki country, so he thought it would be okay for a captain to come and talk to them. Which captain in the Kingdom of Whirlpool is not at the same level as them? Does this make you angry? The third Raikage was a bad-tempered person, and was the first to complain. The Kingdom of Whirlpool is so majestic. For such an important meeting, they only sent out a mere captain. Extremely arrogant. With a bang, third Raikage slammed the table and glared at Hiroku Shunsui. That look in your eyes seemed to tell you what level you were, and you were in the same position as me. Others were silent, wanting to see how Hiroku Shunsui would respond. Hiroku Shunsui seemed not to feel the atmosphere in the conference room. He slowly took the wine bottle from his waist, took out a wine plate from somewhere, and filled it with wine. Hiroku Shunsui's actions made their blood pressure skyrocket. Especially third Raikage, I was so angry that my chest was wheezing. How dare this old boy take Lousy's words as fart? Hiroku Shunsui looked around, picked up the wine plate filled with wine, and said lightly, "Everyone, do you want to have a drink with me?" Boom. Third Raikage slammed the table angrily, stood up directly, and said angrily, "Are you treating us like fools?" Fortunately, the Kingdom of Iron is a country of craftsmen, and the tables are of good quality. It suffered 2 heavy blows from the Third Raikage and showed no signs of falling apart. Kyoraku Shunsui still didn't care about the Third Raikage, who looked like an angry lion. He slowly put the wine glass into his mouth and said, "What a delicious wine. It's a pity that you don't know how to enjoy it." Except for Third Raikage, several people looked at each other and could see the meaning in each other's eyes. Who dares to drink this wine of unknown origin? You might as well go straight to heaven at 23 in one bite. And this captain really doesn't take Third Raikage seriously. Third Raikage almost shouted in his ear, but he just ignored it. Damn it. The Third Raikage glared angrily and punched Kyoraku Shunsui's face that didn't deserve a punch. Kyoraku Shunsui still looks that lazy. He calmly stretched out a finger and touched Third Raikage's fist. Finger bump. With a bang, Third Raikage's fist was shaken as if it was hit. The person's right leg couldn't help but take half a step back. With just this hand, the eyes of everyone present instantly changed and they began to pay attention. Don't look at it. Third Raikage doesn't seem to use all your strength, it's just a simple punch. But Kyoraku Shunsui is obviously very calm. Moreover, the physical fitness and strength of the Third Raikage are recognized by the ninja world as the strongest in the contemporary era. Even if it is a simple and straightforward punch, not everyone can easily block it. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru had witnessed several scenes of the Uzumaki country captain taking action. So I was just a little surprised and then returned to normal. After all, the captain of the Whirlpool Kingdom is so unreasonable. But Third Raikage, Third Kazekage and 2 Scales Onoki are different. Whether it is the Kingdom of Whirlpool or the captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, they have always only lived in their intelligence. This is the first time I have seen it with my own eyes. And this fight made them understand that this captain and the country of Vortex behind him are not simple. FASR. No wonder the Kingdom of Whirlpool dared to send only one captain to such an important occasion. People are arrogant because they have the capital to be arrogant. Moreover, I heard that there are 13 captain-level figures in the Whirlpool Kingdom. If this information is true, then I'm afraid, sooner or later, the structure of the ninja world will change. Of course, it's just a little physical confrontation, but nothing can be seen. But it also gave them a little bit of recognition for Kyoraku Shunsui. But Third Raikage didn't think so. He just felt that he had lost face. The majestic Raikage of Cloud Shinobi Village couldn't even defeat a captain from the country of Whirlpool. Then how can we compete with the Spirit King of the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes flashed with anticipation. In my heart, I was looking forward to a fight between the Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Whirlpool. This will not only divert the attention of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, but also take advantage of the opportunity to develop. Third Raikage, he has humiliated you so much, please don't restrain yourself. But it was obvious that Third Raikage was not a fool. He suppressed his anger and said in a deep voice. Why doesn't the Spirit King of your country come to participate in the Five Shadows Conference? Does he look down on our other 4 countries? In one sentence, the other 3 countries were dragged into the water and used the momentum to put pressure on Kyoraku Shunsui. Mad, there is no simple person who can become a shadow. Several others cursed in their hearts, but at the same time they also wanted to hear Kyoraku Shunsui's answer. Kyoraku Shunsui chuckled lightly and said, with all due respect, how can these few who are only mere captains in our country of Whirlpool be worthy of joining the ranks of the Soul King like me? Arrogant, don't talk too much. In one sentence, it offended 3 countries. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen remained silent. For a moment, the other 3 shadows focused on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Everyone is crusading against Kyoraku Shunsui, why are you sitting here? What can Sarutobi Hiruzen do? He was recently tortured by the country of Whirlpool, so he is not qualified. However, Kyoraku Shunsui was so arrogant that he immediately aroused public outrage, which was also the result he liked to see. He even wished that Kyoraku Shunsui could be more arrogant and try to get other main countries to send troops to the country of Whirlpool. Just when the atmosphere was deadlocked, Mifune Irido said, everyone, since everyone is here, let's get down to business. If the delay continues, the venue fee paid by Raikage will not be enough. Third Raikage snorted coldly, but did not continue to attack and went down the steps. After all, he knew the real purpose of holding the Five Shadows Conference. It's a matter of life and death for the Kingdom of Thunder, so bear with it as much as you can. When this matter is over, sooner or later we have to find our place. 2 Scales Onoki and Third Kazekage were also silent. The Third Kazekage is because Sunagakure is currently at war with Konoha and does not want to antagonize the Uzumaki country and establish a powerful enemy. Onoki, who has 2 scales, is because he is old, and even the slightest big movement may cause his waist to slip. Try not to do anything if you can. Soon, the Five Shadows meeting was held in a strange atmosphere. Onoki, the 2-person scale, said, okay, Raikage, please tell me the purpose of holding this meeting. Right. He no longer wanted to waste time. He was old and not suitable for traveling far away. Third Raikage glanced at everyone, and then said, the main purpose of this meeting is the new creature that has appeared in the ninja world, Hollow. Having said that, Third Raikage subconsciously glanced at Kyoraku Shunsui. He had always thought that Shu was related to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Whether it is time and space ninjutsu or the ability to liberate the ninja sword, they are all similar to the country of Whirlpool. Moreover, the Kingdom of Whirlpool is said to be incompatible with virtual power. But if there was no evil in his heart, why would the Kingdom of Whirlpool attack Shu? Perhaps, these voids were produced by some cruel and inhumane experiments conducted by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But the country of Whirlpool refused to admit it, and he had no evidence, so he had no choice but to let it go. Void. This word made everyone except Kiraku Shunsui and Aiz Nanao stunned for a moment. It seems that he never thought that the Third Raikage would convene the Five Shadows Conference so solemnly just for this kind of thing. Even if Shu suddenly appears and you destroy the Kingdom of Grass, it is not worthy of such attention in their eyes. Third Raikage could tell what they were thinking at a glance, so he said, "Don't underestimate them. Those ordinary hollows are fine, but they also have intelligent humanoid hollows. This hollow can even wrestle with a tailed beast." "What? Impossible. Raikage, if you keep making jokes like this, then there is no need to continue this meeting." Third Kazekage, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Onoki almost instantly denied Third Raikage's words. "Just kidding, how can there be anyone in this world who can wrestle with a tailed beast? Since the deaths of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, there have been very few people who can counterbalance the tailed beasts." Third Raikage was not angered by their denial. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he probably wouldn't believe it. Fortunately, a machine called a video recorder has recently appeared in the ninja world. The intelligence department studied it and found it to be very useful for recording intelligence scenes. I purchased one. It was finally used when Shu invaded the Kingdom of Thunder. Barubi. Third Raikage gave an order, and Barubi lifted a machine onto the table in the conference room. And hang a curtain in front of the video recorder. They are all familiar with video recorders, so they also understand the meaning of Third Raikage. Soon, the picture of the Kingdom of Thunder appeared. Several people watched with concentration. The Third Raikage has no reservations. Since several major powers are invited to jointly crusade against the Hollow, sharing intelligence is inevitable. When the scene progressed to Grimmjow capturing the second tail, the faces of several people finally became solemn. After seeing Yami wrestling with 8 tails, their hearts suddenly sank. It turns out to be true. Third Kazekage spoke first. How could such a creature that could rival a tailed beast appear in this world? Onogi, who had 2 scales, had a sullen face, not knowing what he was thinking. Sarutobi Hiruzen also remained silent, seemingly digesting the facts of the matter. Orochimaru's eyes shone, and he seemed very interested in this creature called Hollow. Kiraku Shunsui was still lazily drinking a small drink and seemed not interested in the pictures in the video recorder. Third Raikage glanced around, saw everyone's expressions in his eyes, and then said, "I believe you all understand the seriousness of the matter, right?" Third Kazekage hesitated and said, "If there are only 2 of them who can fight against the tailed beasts, it doesn't seem to matter. Just treat them like tailed beasts." Madness. Third Raikage cursed angrily. Didn't you notice the numbers on them? After his reminder, everyone discovered that every person with that type of intelligence had a numerical number. X. Third Raikage crossed his arms and said, "Yes. This powerful creature is more than that. And they are organized and disciplined. Think about it, if one person wanted to bring the 9-tailed beasts together, what would happen to the ninja world?" Several people were lost in thought. If it were someone like Senju Hashirama, the ninja world would be more peaceful. But if it's Uchiha Madara, hiss. Obviously, these virtual beings are extremely aggressive. Several people finally realized the seriousness of the matter. Third Kazekage said, "How many of these can fight against the tailed beasts?" Third Raikage shook his head, but he set his sights on Kiraku Shunsui and said, "Although we don't know it, isn't there a representative of the Kingdom of Uzumaki here who claims to specialize in dealing with hollows? I believe that the Kingdom of Whirlpool must have enough understanding of these hollows, right?" Kiraku Shunsui swung the wine in the wine saucer and didn't mind telling them some information. These intelligent beings are called Arankar. And if the number is less than 10, we call it a spada. In the video recorder, they are the 0th blade, the 6th blade, the 7th blade, and the 3rd blade. Third Raikage's pupils shrank sharply. The country of Whirlpool really knew something. 2 scales, Onoki mused. In other words, there are still 6 that have not appeared. If these creatures can fight against the tailed beasts, then this force called Hollow may cause unimaginable destruction to the ninja world. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a headache. There are really more and more strange things in the ninja world. Even beings of the same level as tailed beasts appear. Still in the same force. Tired. Destroy it. Third Raikage said solemnly. I believe everyone has realized the seriousness of the matter. Several people were silent. Third Raikage continued. I propose that we form a ninja coalition immediately to defeat this imaginary force. Although they are suspected to have the same level of power as 10-tailed beasts, as long as our ninja world unites, we will definitely be able to destroy them. Unity. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Third Kazekage looked at each other silently. Then looked towards the Third Raikage. You sure? The Third Raikage was also a little embarrassed. It was indeed impossible for Tsunade and Konoha to temporarily put aside their hatred, but there was really nothing he could do. 2 scales, Onoki said solemnly. If this force really has 10-tailed beast-like creatures, it will indeed be a catastrophic blow to the ninja world. The ninja world and other major countries can fight no matter what they want, but if there is an existence that can destroy the ninja world, it will be different. However, the matter of the ninja alliance still needs long-term consideration. Why don't we form a pilot team first and hunt these virtual ones? Sarutobi Hiruzen was the first to respond. This is a good suggestion. It is impossible for ninja villages to trust each other. Let's conduct the experiment with a small team first. The battlefield in Konoha hasn't ended yet, so how can he bring his troops back to form a ninja coalition? What should we do if Tsunade switches sides? Third Kazekage has the same idea. Third Raikage said, then it's decided. He doesn't care what happens to other villages. First, let's use the whole team to eliminate the virtual ones in their Kingdom of Thunder. If this continues, the Kingdom of Thunder will be consumed sooner or later. He suggested. Our Kingdom of Thunder happens to have a lot of voids, so let's start a pilot project from our Kingdom of Thunder. The conference room suddenly fell silent. Several people suddenly came to their senses. That's so. What a movie with thick eyebrows and big eyes, this is actually the plan. Want to prostitute their ninja for free. When it comes to interests, everyone falls silent. Obviously he didn't want to let the Kingdom of Thunder take advantage in vain. The other side. Hiroku Shunsui saw that the wine pot was about to bottom out, so he stood up and said, oh, I thought it was something interesting, is this it? Allied Ninja Army, we from the country of Whirlpool are not interested, so leave. Just kidding, although they hate Shu, can they not know where Shu came from? Etc. The third Raikage stopped Hiroku Shunsui in front of him and said in a deep voice, since you claim to be incompatible with the Hollow, you have the obligation to destroy the Hollow for us. First of all, it is not our obligation to purify the void, we are paid. Hiroku Shunsui stretched out 2 fingers and continued. Secondly, your Kingdom of Thunder has been blacklisted by our Kingdom of Whirlpool and is not within the scope of help. Third Raikage's face was as gloomy as ink. Okay. It's okay for the Kingdom of Whirlpool not to join the Ninja Alliance, but Hollow has already endangered the ninja world. Since the Kingdom of Whirlpool has the means to deal with Hollows, then we should share these technologies to benefit the ninja world. See you in the picture. As soon as these words came out, several other Kage also looked at Hiroku Shunsui, ready to make a move. They have been eyeing the abilities of the Whirlpool country for a long time.